Hey guys, how are you? So please subscribe and leave a like. What if Naruto was powers Yin-Yang Naruto x Tayuya movie? Shikamaru, leave this to me, said Naruto quietly to his friend Shikamaru as the two stared across at the Sound 4 member, Tayuya. Naruto, are you sure about this? Asked Shikamaru, clad in his newly received Chunin vest. Trust me Shikamaru, this is the best way to do this, I'll catch up to you in a minute, said Naruto seriously. Shikamaru gave his blonde-haired friend a searching glance before nodding. Alright, let's do this Naruto, 2 against 1, the odds are in our favor. Said Shikamaru loudly. You got it, said Naruto as he pulled out a kunai and lunged at Tayuya. 2 against 1 doesn't mean a thing you little shits. Shouted Tayuya contemptuously. As Naruto neared her, kunai drawn, Tayuya raised her metal flute to block the attack. Now Shikamaru. Said Naruto. Got it, take this. Shouted Shikamaru as he pulled his fist back, lunging at Tayuya. Damn, thought Tayuya in annoyance before Shikamaru went right over her and Naruto. Good luck Naruto, said Shikamaru before charging away as quickly as he could, chasing after Kimimaro, who currently held the coffin containing Sasuke's body inside. Huh? Said Tayuya in shock before turning to Naruto. Teamwork my ass. You tricked me you little shit. Roared Tayuya in anger before pausing as she saw Naruto's form tremble. Tayuya blinked as Naruto stood up, still trembling. Hahaha. Laughed Naruto boisterously, his voice sounding much deeper than it had before. What the hell are you laughing at? Shouted Tayuya in anger. Finally, I found someone, said Naruto quietly before laughing again. Found someone what you shit? Shouted Tayuya in annoyance. I've been searching for someone like you, said Naruto as he turned his gaze to Tayuya and smirked. What the hell does that mean, you little shit? Ranted Tayuya before unconsciously taking a step back at the look in Naruto's eyes. Itachi is too loyal and sick, Kurenai was also too loyal, but also weak, though you are perfect, said Naruto with a grin which caused chills to run down Tayuya's spine. What the hell are you talking about? Questioned Tayuya with a hint of fear in her tone. Do you know how few people use Jinjutsu with any level of proficiency? Questioned Naruto. Hell if I know, retorted Tayuya. Out of the past 10 years or so, there have only been 4 truly proficient users of Jinjutsu to come out of the village hidden in the leaves, said Naruto simply. Tayuya thought for a moment, after all, if her opponent wanted to leave his friend to die against Kimimaro, that wasn't her problem. 4? Tayuya asked, with narrowed eyes. Yes, 4, the infamous Itachi Uchiha, the exceedingly loyal Shisui Uchiha, the well-known Kurenai Yuhi, said Naruto, before pausing. And me, said Naruto, with a smirk. Tayuya laughed at this. You've got to be kidding me, you? Questioned Tayuya in laughter. Yes, me, said a voice right next to Tayuya's ear, getting her to freeze. Tayuya looked in front of her and saw Naruto, still standing in the same place as before, with a smirk. What's wrong? Hear something? Questioned Naruto, with a teasing grin. Sound Jinjutsu isn't that special kid, half of the Sound village can do that, said Tayuya mockingly. What sound? Questioned Naruto, before his form shimmered and disappeared. Tayuya looked around, trying to spot the orange-clad genin, but to no avail. I don't use something as restricted as sound, echoed a voice in all directions. I use true illusions, illusions to deceive, illusions to manipulate, continued the voice. Tayuya suddenly gasped at feeling cold water dumped down her back. Illusions that you feel, said Naruto, before appearing in front of Tayuya again, in the same place he was previously. What is your bloody point? So you can use Jinjutsu, big fucking deal, snarled Tayuya. I told you, I'm not that restricted, a Jinjutsu only utilizes Yin chakra, and Ninjutsu uses Yin and Yang chakra in equal measure, but hardly anyone knows just what can be done with such a thing. Yin, combined with Yang, in just the right way, can give birth to a world of illusions, said Naruto, before he disappeared once again, after which. The scenery became a hellish wasteland of fire and brimstone, lakes of lava and multiple ash clouds decorated the red horizon. Tayuya blinked and fluid her chakra to dispel the illusion, but to no avail. Do you see now? Questioned Naruto, his back against Tayuya's, as the scenery changed back to normal. You can't dispel a true illusion, to do so, you need to understand it, and almost no one truly understands Yin-Yang release, said Naruto. Tayuya whirled around, but Naruto was gone, Tayuya growled at this before shouting. Well, just how do you know, you blonde jackass? Shouted Tayuya, before Naruto appeared in front of her, grasping her chin. The good friend, want to meet him? Questioned Naruto, looking into Tayuya's eyes, before she found herself standing in front of a cage. An interesting choice, Naruto, said a deep voice. She is, isn't she? No Itachi, but her potential is vast, said Naruto, standing in front of Tayuya and between her and the cage. What the hell is this? Shouted Tayuya. Now, you're one of Orochimaru's elites, surely you know already? Mocked Naruto. The light appeared suddenly and revealed a dark orange almost brown, nine-tailed creature, its red slitted eyes gazed at Tayuya appraisingly. "What the fuck is that?" shouted Tayuya. There is no need to be so rude to Kurama," said Naruto, with a frown. "You fucking named it," shouted Tayuya. "No, I have always had this name since I was born, I also don't appreciate your loud voice too much," said Kurama, with a small glare, tails waving in the air in irritation. Tayuya sucked in a small breath at this. Tayuya wasn't dumb, if the Kyuubi told you to be quiet, you do it. "In any case, I have a proposition for you, Tayuya," said Naruto, using the girl's name for the first time. "What?" asked Tayuya quietly, after she nervously glanced at Kurama. "I want you, plain and simple," said Naruto. "The hell is that supposed to mean?" shouted Tayuya, getting Kurama to growl slightly, which caused her to stiffen in nervousness. Maybe that was too abrupt," said Naruto thoughtfully. "You think?" hissed Tayuya. "Maybe this will sound more appealing to you. Would you like a new life? To be stronger than even Orochimaru, to be free, to do what you want to not be a slave to Orochimaru," said Naruto, tapping the back of his neck. Tayuya grimaced at the reminder of her curse seal. "Not like you could do anything about it," snarled Tayuya. "True, but if I could get it removed, would you consider joining me?" proposed Naruto. "What makes you think you can?" questioned Tayuya, with a narrowed gaze. "Let me answer that with a question of my own. Are you really under Orochimaru's control, or do you merely think that because he told you so?" asked Naruto. "Of course it is real dumbus. Whenever we failed Orochimaru, he would make us feel immense pain," shouted Tayuya as she clutched the back of her neck. "Is this real?" asked Naruto. "What the hell are you talking about?" asked Tayuya in annoyance. "Is any of this real? Is there really a creature sealed within me? If so, are you really able to see it or do you only think you are seeing it?" continued Naruto. "Of course it is," replied Tayuya, with a grunt. "Is it?" questioned Naruto, as Tayuya blinked and found herself looking at Naruto once again, with him grasping her chin. "Is any of this real?" asked Naruto, before he disappeared and was once again standing where he was previously, just prior to when he had started laughing. "Okay, explain all of this you shithead," demanded Tayuya. "Huh, what are you talking about? I need to beat you and go help Shikamaru, I'm not letting you guys take Sasuke," shouted Naruto in a voice that was much higher pitched than what Tayuya had just been hearing. "What the actual fuck?" thought Tayuya in confusion. "Eat this," shouted Naruto before slugging Tayuya with an insanely strong punch which sent her flying. "You little shit," shouted Tayuya in anger before making a set of hand seals and slamming her palm on the tree branch she had just roughly landed on, summoning 3 demonic-looking creatures. "Whoa, what are those things?" shouted Naruto in surprise. "Your end," answered Tayuya simply before playing her flute. Naruto narrowly dodged the well-coordinated attacks of the 3 demonic creatures, the one wielding the club swung at Naruto, and he barely avoided it with a great leap. Naruto quickly turned around in surprise when the demon without arms dropped down from the sky and tried to crush Naruto. As Naruto was pushed down by the weight of the demon and slammed onto the tree, he turned into a log, which was instantly smashed to pieces. Naruto quietly glanced from around a tree at the two before he ducked as the third beast had just smashed its fist through the tree he was hiding behind, narrowly missing his head. Naruto jumped away as the 3 demons regrouped. "Is that all you got, lady?" taunted Naruto. Tayuya growled in response and changed her melody, causing her doki to open their mouths, out of which 3 odd spectral creatures with multiple mouths emerged. The 3 ghostly apparitions charged at Naruto, who quickly created many clones. The clones dispelled on contact with the phantoms, which seemed to eat the chakra of the clones. The ghouls continued to hunt down the clones of Naruto, one by one. Tayuya smirked while she continued playing her flute. "Little bastard is finished," Tayuya thought viciously. As the clone was taken out, Tayuya looked around carefully before 3 simultaneous cries grabbed her attention. "Rasengan!" shouted 3 voices, Naruto, along with 2 shadow clones, who launched their spiraling attack into the backs of the 3 doki, who were then dispelled. "I've got you now," shouted Naruto as he threw a kunai directly at Tayuya. Tayuya jumped away to another branch as Naruto's blade embedded itself on the tree where she had previously stood. "This is the end for you, demon flute. Chains of Fantasia," said Tayuya as she cast her illusion, which caused Naruto to feel as though he was bound with sturdy ropes while his flesh fell off. Tayuya walked over to the kunai Naruto had thrown and picked it up. Tayuya then walked over to Naruto, who was immobilized and prepared to end Naruto's life before he suddenly looked up and froze Tayuya. "Very good, Tayuya," said Naruto in that same deep voice again as Tayuya's world shimmered and she found herself facing Naruto as before. Naruto was leaning, arms crossed and back against a tree, in relaxation, eyes boring. "What the fuck?" shouted Tayuya in shock. "This Tayuya is a true illusion," said Naruto. "How the hell did you do that? What happened?" demanded Tayuya in shock. "You just experienced one of my illusions, an illusion I gained the ability to use on you the moment I touched you," said Naruto simply. "When did you touch me, you pervert?" shouted Tayuya in anger. Maybe that was too abrupt," said Naruto thoughtfully, getting Tayuya to twitch in irritation. "You said that before," growled Tayuya. "Did I? When?" asked Naruto mockingly. Tayuya looked to be close to losing it when Naruto spoke again. "The moment my kunai touched your flute, I touched you, as indirect as it may be," said Naruto calmly. Tayuya blinked in surprise. "At that moment, you were doomed to always be at the mercy of my illusions, unless you can truly understand them, to break free from them, which is something I would be willing to teach you, along with how to use them, if you trust me," explained Naruto. "There is no way you could have done something like that," said Tayuya in denial. "Really? No way?" questioned Naruto, before the visage of a great fox appeared behind him, causing Tayuya to take a step back. "The offer stands, I will give you a new life," said Naruto. "Why?" asked Tayuya. "Like I said before, I want you, mind, spirit and yes, even body, just not in the way Orochimaru does. In return, I will make you truly unstoppable, someone who could fell a cage easily, all if you become mine," said Naruto. "Why the hell would I leave one master for another?" questioned Tayuya in annoyance, before feeling Naruto grasp her chin, as he had before. "I don't want to be your master," whispered Naruto, his lips just beside Tayuya's right ear. Tayuya blinked in surprise at this once again, before feeling Naruto press his lips against Tayuya's. Tayuya moaned involuntarily as she felt her body become extremely aroused, so much so that she almost exploded in pure pleasure right there and then. "Well, Tayuya, what do you say?" said Naruto, once again leaning against the tree in front of her. Tayuya took a deep breath as her arousal subsided quickly. What the hell was that?" shouted a flustered Tayuya. "Would you like to know?" said Naruto, back pressed against Tayuya once again. Tayuya didn't turn around this time and kept staring at the Naruto in front of her. "Yeah, we're getting better already," commented Naruto, approval in his eyes. "So if I join you, y'all teach me how to do all this shit?" questioned Tayuya curiously. "This and so much more," said Naruto. Tayuya paused for a moment before Naruto spoke up again. "Well, what do you say?" asked Naruto, before Tayuya walked up to him. In a move which surprised Naruto, Tayuya smashed her lips against his, all the while pressing her body against his. After a moment Tayuya pulled back. "You teach me all of that and you can have me, mind, spirit and fucking hot body, but I want yours in return as well," said Tayuya, with a smirk. "I knew you were perfect," said Naruto, with a smirk of his own. Tayuya's smirk merely widened at this. "However, now I need to teach you your first lesson, sadly, it will be an unpleasant one," said Naruto, as he pulled out a kunai, causing Tayuya to take a step back. Naruto then quickly stabbed his hand with the blade, getting Tayuya to look on in shock. Naruto then clenched his fist and threw his hand out to the side, getting his blood to splatter against a few trees. "You trust me, right?" questioned Naruto, only to get a hesitant nod. Tayuya then gasped as Naruto stabbed his blade on the edge of her stomach, missing all vital organs, but causing blood to gush out. "What the fuck? Bastard," growled Tayuya before the pain disappeared. "It'd keep pressure on that wound," said Naruto, as he flicked Tayuya's blood off his blade onto a few trees, as he had done with his own before. "What the hell was that for?" asked Tayuya in anger. While she felt no pain, she was bleeding steadily. First lesson. All illusions, no matter how strong, need a base to grow from. I can't make you imagine zombies growing out of a tree if you never thought of it. A vivid imagination is key for these things, said Naruto. Tayuya then blinked as a decrepit corpse started to emerge from the tree they were standing on. "Although, once you do think of it, even if I implanted the thought, I can take that and make it reality," said Naruto, gesturing to the zombie he had just created before it disappeared. "Why did you need to stab me for that?" asked Tayuya in irritation. "I told you, it'd give you a new life, but no one will believe that you and I fought without any damage being caused. It will cast suspicions on us. To ensure the illusions I create later work, I need a solid base. Like I said previously, this is the first step. Now though, if you won't mind, I need you to head to the Valley of the End. Oh, and remember to keep the pressure on that. I took the pain away, but I don't want you dying from blood loss," said Naruto, before shooting off after Shikamaru. "Could have warned me before doing it, ass," muttered Tayuya before taking off. Line break. Shikamaru was panting slightly. His opponent was not exactly weak, in fact, he was outrageously strong. Shikamaru had already seen his life flash before his eyes 4 times, only managing to escape by quickly binding Kimimaro and retreating to avoid a lethal blow. "Shikamaru!" shouted Naruto as he burst out of the tree line, landing next to Shikamaru as they faced Kimimaro in a grassy meadow. "Naruto, thank God you're here," exclaimed Shikamaru in relief. Yeah, it was tough though, I had to hurt myself a few times to break out of her genjutsu, said Naruto, showing his left hand to Shikamaru, which was hastily wrapped up in bandages, which had turned red. You managed to defeat Tayuya? Said Kamimuro questioningly. Well, not exactly, I got a good hit on her, but she got away, confessed Naruto. She won't be a problem anymore, though, Shikamaru, I gave her a pretty bad wound, said Naruto, addressing his teammate. She fled. Orochimaru will see to it that she is punished, declared Kamimuro, with steel in his tone. Kamimuro, Naruto and Shikamaru all turned their attention to the coffin containing Sasuke's body as purple smoke started to come out of it. After a moment, the coffin exploded, kicking up a lot of purple smoke. As the smoke started to clear, Sasuke's form was revealed. His skin was a dark brown, and he had shaggy dark gray hair. After a moment though, Sasuke reverted back to normal, his arms regaining their previous white tone, as curse marks crawled back up his body, with his hair shortening and turning black once again. Hey, there you are Sasuke, let's go home man. Said Naruto cheerfully, to which Sasuke only laughed. Naruto said Shikamaru warningly. Come on Sasuke, what are you hanging around with these losers for? Asked Naruto jovially. Sasuke didn't respond and merely ran off. Die. Said Kamimuro, as he suddenly appeared behind Naruto and Shikamaru, a spike of bone, jutting from his palms, poised to skewer them. The two were saved from death by a green blur. Lee! Exclaimed both Naruto and Shikamaru in surprise. Naruto, leave this to Shikamaru and I, go get Sasuke, said Lee calmly, as he took a fighting stance and stared down Kamimuro. Are you sure? Bushy brows, this guy looks pretty strong. Asked Naruto hesitantly. Lee merely gave Naruto a thumbs up. You made a promise didn't you? Go and fulfill it, said Lee, with a smile. Alright, be careful though, said Naruto, before running after Sasuke. I don't think so, said Kamimuro, as he tried to cut down Naruto, only to be intercepted by Lee. I don't like being ignored, said Lee, gripping Kamimuro's bone sword between his two palms. Naruto kept running, but glanced back momentarily, a worried expression on his face, before picking up speed. Line break. Sasuke! Shouted Naruto, as he finally caught up to Sasuke. The two were currently standing on the heads of the two founders of the Leaf Village. Sasuke had his back to Naruto. Sasuke slowly turned to face Naruto, revealing his face was partially transformed. His left eye was black with a yellow pupil, and black curse marks decorated the left side of his face. So it's you, Naruto, said Sasuke. Naruto merely smirked before pulling a scroll out of his jacket. Hatch! Shouted Naruto, before throwing the scroll at Sasuke. Sasuke caught it and looked at Naruto apathetically. What's this? Asked Sasuke listlessly. Read it and find out, said Naruto, before he jumped off the statue to the ground and walked over to the tree line. You're fast, said Naruto approvingly. DCHM an elite, a small wound that I can't even feel won't hold me back, said Tayuya as she landed next to Naruto, still holding her injured side. That's good, once we come back here it'll wrap that up for you, said Naruto, with a nod, before feeling Sasuke drop down next to him. Naruto didn't move as Sasuke turned him around and grabbed him roughly with both hands by the scruff of his jumpsuit. What is this, Naruto? Roared Sasuke, his Sharingan spinning menacingly as he glared at the Uzumaki. The truth, you can even ask Orochimaru to confirm it, said Naruto calmly. Also, said Naruto, before he thrust his right palm into Sasuke's forehead, causing Sasuke to drop Naruto, and quickly gave him a palm thrust to his family jewels, causing him to drop to the ground. Don't touch me, said Naruto coldly, surprising the Uchiha. Huh, if that's how you treat your friends, I would hate to see how you treat your enemies, said Tayuya, with a raised eyebrow. You were my enemy, you look fine to me, said Naruto plainly. What the hell was that for, Naruto? Asked Sasuke with a growl. Y'all learn soon, now let's go princess, time for you to go to your new home, said Naruto, as he started walking in the direction of the Sound Village. Tayuya quickly followed, leaving Sasuke there on the floor. What the hell is going on? Thought Sasuke in shock. Line break. The walk to the Sound Village was awkward to say the least, a defector, an apparently loyal Leaf Genin and one of Orochimaru's elites, walking side by side, made for an odd sight. So, are we almost there yet? Asked Naruto to Tayuya. Yeah, just a little further, the base is underground, said Tayuya. After a few moments, they reached a large pit, which, predictably, had a snake with its mouth open, marking the entrance of the base. Be sure isn't creative, commented Naruto, before jumping down. The trio entered the base, Tayuya leading them to Orochimaru. My, this is certainly unexpected, said a silky voice, which echoed around the room. Whatever, Orochimaru, quit the theatrics, I have a deal for you, said Naruto. That doesn't sound like you at all, Naruto, commented Orochimaru mockingly, making Naruto sigh. Boy snake face, get your butt out here so I can beat you to a pulp. Shouted Naruto childishly, getting Orochimaru to laugh. That's more what I expected from you, said Orochimaru. Footsteps were heard as two individuals walked up to the trio, Kabuto, with his usual smug look and a heavily bandaged Orochimaru, only showing a single slit eye. You look different, said Naruto. Yes, I do, for now, what, pray tell, are you doing here, Naruto? Asked Orochimaru. Simple, I came here for you to remove your curse seal from Tayuya, said Naruto, getting Tayuya to gape at him, Kabuto to raise an eyebrow in surprise, Sasuke to look at Naruto in confusion and Orochimaru to laugh. And just why should I do that? Asked Orochimaru teasingly. Because, if you don't within the next 12 hours, Sasuke's eyes here will be sealed, his family jewels will explode, and you will be out of luck, said Naruto, with a smirk, getting shocked looks from Tayuya, Sasuke and Kabuto, while Orochimaru merely smirked. And how will you do that? Asked Orochimaru mockingly. Like this, said Naruto, channeling a small bit of chakra, which caused a seal to appear on Sasuke's forehead. Modified from the cage bird seal, do you like it? Plus, just in case you got any ideas, I also put Sasuke's possible future offspring in the same danger. The only way for them to be removed is if Tayuya, without her curse seal and I, get 2 kilometers away from Sasuke. Oh, but if either of us dies, or Tayuya still has her cursed seal within an hour, they'll activate anyway, said Naruto. With a smirk. So that's why you gave him a low blow before. I thought you were just venting, said Tayuya in surprise. Sasuke glared at Naruto and Kabuto looked ready to kill Naruto anyway, despite his threat. Orochimaru on the other hand looked amused. Bukikuku, Naruto, that is quite a hand you played, no need to be so threatening, since I'm assuming nothing said here will be mentioned to anyone. I hadn't even planned on the Sound 5 surviving this mission, so you can have little Tayuya, without my curse seal, said Orochimaru, before forming a hand sign, which caused Tayuya to growl in irritation. Before shouting in pain and dropping to her knees, as Orochimaru excised his seal from her body. You are being more agreeable than I expected. If I knew, I wouldn't have even bothered to touch Sasuke, said Naruto, with a raised eyebrow. What can I say, I'm amused today, Sasuke is here and you have entertained me, said Orochimaru in amusement. Well, with that taken care of, Sasuke, since I did very nearly screw you over, how about I let you hit me with a Chidori? In the gut would be preferable, nowhere vital if you don't mind, that takes ages to heal, said Naruto, turning to Sasuke and spreading his arms. What the fuck is wrong with you, cough? Are you some kind of masochist? Questioned Tayuya tiredly. No, but I don't want the Leaf to think him working with Orochimaru, no offense, said Naruto. None taken, chuckled Orochimaru. You're insane, Naruto, said Sasuke, before charging lighting in his hand and shoving it into Naruto's gut, caused blood to dribble from his mouth. Well, that hurt like a bitch, said Naruto, with a fanged grin, after Sasuke pulled his hand out, leaving a gaping hole in Naruto's jumpsuit and stomach. Kurama, do you mind? Thought Naruto, before feeling his stomach stitch itself back up. I don't suppose you would also be willing to give me 2 blood pills and heal Tayuya's wound, would you? Requested Naruto curiously. Go ahead, Kabuto, drawled Orochimaru in amusement. Kabuto gave Naruto 2 blood pills and shrouded his hand in green chakra before healing the wound Naruto had given Tayuya previously. Patch, said Naruto to Tayuya as he flicked a blood pill to her, which she took quickly, replacing most of the blood she had lost. Oh, and I heard what you said, so this is your warning, said Naruto, causing Tayuya's eyes to widen before Naruto stabbed her in almost the exact same place as before. Fucking shit. Why did you have to do that again? Ranted Tayuya, getting a surprised look from Kabuto and Sasuke, while Orochimaru merely chuckled. Do you really think Orochimaru would just let someone defect from his forces? I need this to be believable, said Naruto. Oh, one last thing before I go, Orochimaru, I suggest you move bases soon, just temporarily, said Naruto, before grabbing Tayuya and leaving with her. Are you really just going to let them go, Lord Orochimaru? Asked Kabuto curiously. Well, they did bring Sasuke here, and I must say, young Naruto has amused me today. I look forward to seeing what he does now, call me curious, said Orochimaru, before laughing. Line break. What the hell was that all about? Asked Tayuya, once the two had left the hideout and journeyed a fair distance away, after which, Naruto numbed her pain again. Like I said before, all illusions need a base to grow from, this is just that, said Naruto simply, as the two finally approached the Valley of the End. Yeah, well it hurt like a bitch. Shouted Tayuya. Don't complain, I'm going to do much worse to myself in a minute, said Naruto, with a grin. Fucking masochist, muttered Tayuya. Naruto then quickly created a few clones, which created a Rasengan each and destroyed part of the valley. Now for the final part, said Naruto, before charging his kunai with chakra and stabbing in the exact place Sasuke had with his Chidori, causing him to cough up blood and drop to his knees for a moment. And you thought what I did to you hurt? Mocked Naruto. And just what was the point of that? Questioned Tayuya in irritation. Simple, I fought Sasuke and was defeated. You, who fled after your battle with me, were nearly killed by Orochimaru for arriving without Sasuke, so he removed his curse mark from you to cause you great pain and tried to kill you. Shikamaru can vouch for this all, as he heard Kamimuro mention you would be punished for fleeing. You escaped, fleeing in the direction of the leaf, and found me here. Bleeding out, but slowly healing, you gave me a blood pill to refill most of what I had already lost before carrying me to the leaf, hoping to gain amnesty for saving my life, as well as providing information on Orochimaru's hideouts, said Naruto, before he consumed the blood pill. Remember Tayuya, first lesson. All illusions, no matter how strong, need a base to grow from, that includes all illusions, both with and without chakra, said Naruto, with a smirk. Tayuya looked at Naruto in shock at how well thought out his entire plan was, especially considering he came up with it in minutes. How did you seal the Uchiha? Asked Tayuya curiously. I didn't, like I said, all illusions need a base. You seeing me do that, and Sasuke not knowing what I had done, was enough to convince everyone. After all, I have been training under Jiraiya. It is completely plausible I may know sealing, further compounded with my different attitude. Why do you think it looked like the caged bird seal? I needed to base it on something after all, as I stated previously though, I can't remove your seal, but I could have it removed by Orochimaru himself. Now, it'll give you a new life, just like I promised, said Naruto, with a smile. Tayuya gaped in unrestrained shock at what Naruto had just revealed. With a groan, Naruto started to regain consciousness, only to hear shouting. Lady Tsunade, you can't believe this girl for 1 second. She is obviously here to spy on the leaf under that bastard's orders. Shouted a voice, which Naruto recognized as belonging to Anko Mitarashi. Like hell I am. That creep put me through hell, why on earth would I be loyal to him? Retorted a voice, which Naruto easily identified as Tayuya. You were with him for years, an elite even. Protested Anko. You were his bloody apprentice, Kettle. Argued Tayuya. We are nothing alike. I hate him. Snapped Anko. I hate him even more. Shouted Tayuya. Lady Tsunade, you can't seriously be thinking of trusting her? Questioned Anko. Well, I may not be directly involved in this, but when I did retrieve the two, Tayuya was injured rather significantly, added a voice Naruto picked up as belonging to Kakashi. Picking this as the optimum time to interject, Naruto groaned loudly, causing the shouting to stop. Why is everyone yelling so much? Grumbled Naruto as he blearily opened his eyes, spotting Kakashi, Tayuya, Anko and Tsunade at the foot of his bed. About time you woke up brat, it's been almost a full day, commented Tsunade. What's going on? Where's Sasuke? Asked Naruto suddenly. Probably in sound by now, said Tsunade simply. Damn it. Cursed Naruto in annoyance. That aside, what are we going to do about her? We need to find out the truth after all, hissed Anko. Screw you lady. I'm not under interrogation here. Growled Tayuya. That can be easily arranged, muttered Anko darkly. Naruto, I don't suppose you can tell us anything about Tayuya over here. After all, she claims to have rescued you from death in an attempt to join the leaf after fleeing Orochimaru as he tried to kill her. Is there any truth to that? Asked Kakashi calmly. Yeah I think you should ask Shika though, my mind's a bit fuzzy right now, but I'm pretty sure that bone guy said something like that would happen, said Naruto weakly, scrunching up his face in discomfort. Anko, please retrieve Chunin Shikamaru Nara for me, barked Tsunade. Anko looked to protest, only to bite her tongue seeing Tsunade's glare. Fine, I'll be back in a minute, huffed Anko, before disappearing in a body flicker. Kakashi, as Naruto is awake now, you may leave and go attend to your other student, said Tsunade. Kakashi nodded and gave a quick wave and smiled to Naruto, before vanishing in a swirl of leaves. Well, glad to see you're awake now brat, said Tsunade. You know it grandma, nothing will keep me down, said Naruto cheerfully. So, how exactly did you end up like that? Questioned Tsunade. Naruto frowned at this and looked away from the busty blonde. Sasuke really tried to kill me, didn't he? Questioned Naruto. They'll say, you were bleeding like crazy when I found you, lucky you were the container for the Kyuubi, since it healed the massive hole you had in your gut, commented Tayuya, getting a sharp glance from Tsunade. What? I was an elite, we needed to know these things, although, I do stress the was part, said Tayuya defensively. Yes, well, if that is the case, then I'm sure you won't try anything if I leave to attend to other patients quickly, said Tsunade challengingly. Promise, I'm not a spy like that crazy skank thinks I am, huffed Tayuya. Well see, won't we? Questioned Tsunade rhetorically, before leaving the room via the door, leaving Tayuya and Naruto alone. Naruto's demeanor shifted immediately as he sat up. That went rather well I'd say, commented Naruto calmly. Man it's weird when you do that, muttered Tayuya. Would you prefer I constantly spout off nonsense and shout idealistic one-liners? Asked Naruto in amusement. I guess not, answered Tayuya. In any case, Shikamaru is smart and will be able to figure out enough to vouch for you from context, although, I can't stress this enough, Shikamaru is smart, very smart, so don't oversell yourself, or he will get suspicious, warned Naruto. Relax, I can handle this, said Tayuya confidently. For your sake, I hope you do, said Naruto, with a nod, before sliding back down. So, if I am allowed to stay here, what exactly am I going to do? Asked Tayuya, moving to sit on the foldable steel chair next to Naruto's beside. Most likely, Yao'll be put on my team to fill the void of Sasuke, that will require some careful manipulation though, as I really don't want Danzo to try anything. Kakashi may have some lingering resentment, but since you saved me, he won't do anything and will get over it soon enough. The team who tried to retrieve Sasuke may also hold ill will toward you, so I suggest you don't antagonize them. Sakura will no doubt hate you, but she is weak and useless, so who cares, I'll deal with her though. Anko may be a problem though, but from the looks of things, if you simply antagonize her as you were before, it will cause her to think irrationally, since she is too emotionally invested in anything Orochimaru related also, when you do give away a few base locations. Her focus will shift marginally. Jiraiya is the biggest problem though, however, knowing him, he will feel nostalgic if the two of us interact with each other closely, nothing immediate of course, but enough for him to start seeing similarities between his former student and his wife, said Naruto in a relaxed manner. His student being the fourth Hokage and his wife being Kushina Uzumaki, in other words, your parents? Queried Tayuya, with a raised eyebrow. I guess Orochimaru's information was somewhat more expansive than I gave him credit for, but yes, like my parents, it will be the easiest way to dissuade Jiraiya of the notion that you are a spy, doubly, so when I begin to reciprocate things, which he will take as a good mentoring moment, when my clueless self asks him about girls and the like, said Naruto, with a smirk. So that is just a non-issue now. We're going to get together or something? Questioned Tayuya, with a dry chuckle. Well, you did say you'd give yourself to me, mind, spirit and fucking hot body if I recall right, besides, if we are close, it will be easier for me to instruct you, moreover, I already know enough about you to show genuine interest in you, after all, like I said, any illusion needs a grain of truth to it, said Naruto, with a grin. Damn right you will, I'm not some fangirl tree hugger, agreed Tayuya. If you were, it'd have simply killed you in the forest, said Naruto coldly, getting Tayuya to shiver slightly. But, nothing to worry about, right? You're both strong, intelligent, attractive and most importantly, adaptable, said Naruto. Naruto's eyes turned to the door handle as it started to move and prepared himself for what would follow. In walked Shikamaru, looking rather frazzled, with a disgruntled Anko. Where'd Lady Tsunade go? Asked Anko suspiciously, narrowing her eyes at Tayuya. Well don't look at me. If I could take a Sannin out, I would have left Snake Face ages ago, Big Tits just went to check on a few patients, replied Tayuya. You know, if you are trying to become a leaf ninja, you really shouldn't call me the Hokage Big Tits, commented Tsunade, with a twitching eyebrow, as she entered the room. Well I'm not lying, muttered Tayuya, sparing a glance at Tsunade's large mammaries. She's not wrong Tsunade, added Jiraiya, as he appeared on the windowsill of Naruto's room. Pervy sage! Exclaimed Naruto cheerfully. Damn it brat. Don't call me that. Shouted Jiraiya. Well it's true, especially with all of your scoff research, commented Naruto dryly. Well Jiraiya, what are you doing here anyway? Asked Tsunade. What? I'm not allowed to check up on my apprentice? Asked Jiraiya. Apprentice? You taught me for like a month. Exclaimed Naruto indignantly. A month during which you learned the summoning jutsu and the Rasengan, pointed out Jiraiya, silencing his student, who pouted slightly. In any case, Shikamaru, is there anything you can tell us to determine if Tayuya here has indeed defected from Orochimaru, or is she a spy to your knowledge? Asked Tsunade seriously. Well, I can't say for sure if she is a spy or not, but from what Kimimura was saying, if she returned, Orochimaru would have likely killed her, said Shikamaru, with a frown. Thank you. About time someone used their brain, groused Tayuya, glaring at Anko who returned it with greater fervor. I still say you should let me have 10 minutes alone with her, said Anko, with a twisted grin. Screw that. I'm no lesbian, so go fuck yourself, shouted Tayuya. Anko's face twitched and it looked like she was going to strangle Tayuya if it hadn't been for Jiraiya's interjection. All the same, if you want us to believe you, you should give us some evidence, for instance, locations of Orochimaru's hideouts, suggested Jiraiya. Fine, I'll tell you all I know, every single base, from sand to cloud, said Tayuya. Very well, Anko, please inform Ibiki to come to my office in an hour, you might as well come too, Shikamaru, you're free to leave now if you want, Jiraiya, come with me, said Tsunade, before leaving, Jiraiya following, as he hopped into the room, before leaving with his teammate. Anko gave one last suspicious glare to Tayuya, before leaving. Thanks for that, said Tayuya appreciatively to Shikamaru. I didn't do it for you, you were our enemy, and normally I wouldn't have minded anything happening to you, but you saved Naruto from the sounds of things, and it would be troublesome to have something weighing on my conscience like that, said Shikamaru lazily. Whatever, huffed Tayuya. How are you, Naruto? Asked Shikamaru. I'm great, thanks to Tayuya here I guess, said Naruto cheerfully. I meant about Sasuke, he got away, said Shikamaru hesitantly. Naruto frowned and looked out the window. Yeah he did, said Naruto sadly, unaware that someone was listening outside the door. I just don't understand why everything he said, it didn't sound like Sasuke at all, said Naruto quietly. That's because the curse seal feeds on your mind, amplifying negative emotions and fixating the bearer on their innermost desires and twisting it so that Orochimaru is the answer, it'd know after all. I've been with Snake Face for over 5 years, said Tayuya, only to hear the door open and a pink-haired girl walk in. You were one of the people who took Sasuke, said Sakura Haruno accusingly as she gazed at Tayuya. Hey Sakura, mumbled Naruto, but his teammate ignored him. Yeah, so? What's it to you? Scoffed Tayuya. Sakura growled and made to advance on Tayuya, only to find herself locked in place. Shikamaru, let me go right now. How can you be protecting someone like her? She's the reason Choji got hurt. She's the reason Sasuke left us. Shouted Sakura angrily. If you had listened to what she said, the seal made him leave, not her. Besides, without her, Sasuke might have killed Naruto. If she didn't find Naruto and keep him alive until Kakashi got there, you might have lost 2 teammates instead of 1 today, said Shikamaru calmly, holding his hands in the rat sign. Sakura glared at Shikamaru, before turning to glare at Tayuya, before focusing on Naruto, who was looking down at his lap. I'm really sorry Sakura, but I'm sure I can get him back next time, he just got lucky this time, said Naruto, not meeting the pink-haired girl's gaze. Let me go Shikamaru, said Sakura calmly. After a moment of hesitation, Shikamaru released his hand sign and retracted his shadow. Sakura turned one last glare on Tayuya before turning back to the door. Naruto, I'm sorry for putting everything on you, just give me a little bit of time and I'll be able to stand next to you, then we can bring Sasuke back together, said Sakura determinedly before leaving, closing the door behind her. Pink is crazy if she thinks she can take on Snake Face, his right hand and get emo boy back, scoffed Tayuya. Don't say that, Sakura is really smart, I bet with a little training, she will be even stronger than you. Protested Naruto, getting Tayuya to look at him in undisguised disbelief. Are you nuts? Questioned Tayuya. To be fair, Sakura is rather analytical and does have excellent chakra control, but you might be stretching it Naruto, said Shikamaru. Yeah I'll see, Sakura will be as strong as Tayuya. Said Naruto. Anyway, now that I'm done here, I should probably go check on Choji, later Naruto, said Shikamaru as he left as well, leaving Tayuya and Naruto alone again. Well that was a bold-faced lie if I ever saw one, scoffed Tayuya. Was it? I never lie, Sakura can be stronger than you with some training stronger than you when you were 5, snorted Naruto. Damn straight. That pretty girl won't ever be as strong as me, said Tayuya. Also, watch yourself, you almost slipped up enough for Shikamaru to realize that you didn't believe that I would say something like that, luckily, I covered, but watch your reactions, admonished Naruto. Please, he can't be that perceptive, muttered Tayuya. He is, Shikamaru is probably one of the few people I would consider an intellectual equal and a friend in this village, you really shouldn't underestimate him, Sakura is book smart, but Shikamaru is all around smart, he knows facts, people and shinobi all equally well, informed Naruto. Fine, I'll try to control myself when you say really stupid shit, said Tayuya in a drawl. Please try your best, because for the immediate future, I'm going to be doing a lot of that until I can show slow, gradual changes in my personality, in response to this, and a little prodding from yourself of course, said Naruto, with an amused grin. Tayuya was about to respond, before Naruto gave her a quick look. Well brat, sorry state you're in here, I must say, said Jiraiya, as he popped back through the window. Yeah, well some master you are, letting your so-called apprentice get hurt like this, jabbed Naruto. You know as well as I do that the Rasengan is stronger than the Chidori if you fought with the same intensity, Sasuke would have been beaten by you easily, chided Jiraiya. Well having a single move that is stronger doesn't make up for my other weaknesses, sure, I can take a lot of punishment, but I have no fighting style, something Sasuke with his Sharingan took advantage of, and I can't use Genjutsu at all, well Sasuke's eyes give him that easily, 1 in 3 isn't enough, said Naruto, noticing that Tayuya almost lost her composure. When Naruto said he couldn't use Genjutsu. And that's why I'm going to train you for the next few years personally, if in 1 month I could make you surpass Sasuke in one regard, just imagine what I can do for you in 36, said Jiraiya. But I can't leave for that long, we need to get Sasuke back now before Orochimaru takes his body. Protested Naruto. Actually, you've probably got about that long until the pale bastard can do that, said Tayuya, drawing the attention of both Leaf Ninja. The reason he almost killed me, in addition to not having Sasuke, was because we took too long and he needed to switch bodies, something which he can only do every 3 years, explained Tayuya. Are you sure? Do we really have time? Asked Naruto seriously. I'm willing to bet my life on it. When I went back, he was already in a new body, and I know for a fact that he can't switch too quickly between bodies, or his soul will be rejected. I have seen him do it before, after all, said Tayuya. Alright then, in that case, I'm ready to train, said Naruto calmly, turning to face Jiraiya, who was sending Tayuya a scrutinizing glance. That girl with a few words calmed the brat down and helped him regain his focus. I doubt I could have done something like that, thought Jiraiya analytically. Alright Naruto, I have a few things to take care of in the next few weeks, so we'll probably be able to leave in a month or so, give or take a few days. I'll let you know when we need to go a day in advance, so you can prepare, said Jiraiya, before sending a quick glance to Tayuya and back to Naruto again, before leaping out the window once more. Well, despite you almost slipping up when I mentioned my apparent lack of Genjutsu prowess, that went even better than I thought. In fact, if we can play this right, Jiraiya might even bring you along with us, said Naruto. Well, I'm not exactly stupid, I get what you want the old man to see, it shouldn't be that hard to pull off, shrugged Tayuya. I knew there was a reason I liked you, said Naruto, with a smile. Tayuya gave another non-committal shrug, not really having anything to say to that. Well, since we have a few weeks, it is important I build up our relationship, real or fake, or both, said Naruto. It better be real, considering how much work I'm going to need to put into liking your idiot persona, grumbled Tayuya. Please, I've been forced to act like this without break for almost 8 years, you don't know the struggle, scoffed Naruto. Whatever, when can we get started? Asked Tayuya. Right now, said Naruto, swiftly ripping the sheets of his body and going to his small pile of clothes before ripping off his hospital gown, flashing Tayuya. Boy. I don't want to see your ass, shouted Tayuya, turning her head to the right. Please, my ass is probably in better shape than yours, considering you focus on Genjutsu, you aren't as physically developed as me, and I have buns of steel, commented Naruto, as he swiftly dressed in his orange jumpsuit. Are you saying I'm fat? Growled Tayuya. No, I'm saying my ass is better than yours, now follow me, said Naruto, jumping out the window. My ass is better than yours, grumbled Tayuya, before following after Naruto. Line break. Tsunade had just dismissed Hibiki and a somewhat disgruntled Anko when Jiraiya popped in through the window. "Yo princess," greeted Jiraiya with a stupid grin. "Just tell me how things went," griped Tsunade. "Well, actually, rather well, and we just might have that girl to thank for it," said Jiraiya conversationally. "Explain," barked Tsunade. "Well, the brat was all up in arms about getting the Uchiha back, then that girl told him the same stuff I knew about Orochimaru, but in a manner that somehow calmed him down and focused him," informed Jiraiya. Tsunade raised an eyebrow at this. "Interesting, you don't think this is just because she saved him?" asked Tsunade. "I don't think so, it kind of felt like 2 decades ago, only this time, the redeed was calming down the blonde, not the other way around," said Jiraiya fondly. "Don't you think you might be reading into things a bit too much? I saw the physical similarities as well, but from what I saw, the girl is just as brash as the brat," questioned Tsunade. "No, I know what it was like, if you saw what I saw, you'd probably agree with me, I just don't think she gets along with Anko well," said Jiraiya. "Well, considering both were former subordinates of Orochimaru and both apparently hate his guts, I'd be surprised if they got along, especially considering Tayuya doesn't have her curse seal anymore since Orochimaru tried to kill her off, Anko is definitely not happy about that," muttered Tsunade. Speak of the devil, and Anko burst back into the office of the Hokage. "Lady Tsunade, Naruto and the girl are both gone," exclaimed Anko, slightly out of breath. Jiraiya merely laughed at this, getting a fiery glare from Anko and a raised eyebrow from Tsunade. "Something funny, Jiraiya?" questioned Tsunade. "Oh, not really, just I bet you 1,000 Ryu I know exactly where they are right now," knowing Naruto, chuckled Jiraiya. "Well?" prompted Anko in agitation. "Where else would the brat go after waking up in the hospital?" questioned Jiraiya, laughing as he hopped out the window. "Anko, please follow Jiraiya," said Tsunade with a groan, starting to rub her temples immediately after the special jounin left. "Line break. Really? This is where you desperately needed to go?" questioned Tayuya in disbelief from atop a stool. "Of course, Ichiraku makes the best ramen in the world," exclaimed Naruto in excitement. "You're joking, right, Ramen? That's what we needed to leave the hospital for?" asked Tayuya, still in shock. "Hey, I really like ramen," said Naruto, giving a discreet wink to Tayuya. "Whatever," said Tayuya, shortly after which, her bowl of ramen was placed in front of her by Aim. Naruto, you know you really shouldn't sneak out of the hospital, chided AM, with a smile on her face. Aw please, I'm fine AM, look, said Naruto, unzipping his jumpsuit and revealing his torso to the ramen chef, pulling up his mesh shirt as well. See, not a single scratch, declared Naruto proudly. AM merely giggled at Naruto's antics. What the hell is it with you flashing people? Don't you have any shame? Asked Tayuya in curiosity. Shame is for people not cool enough to accept their own awesomeness, said Naruto, as he zipped up his jumpsuit again. Said Tayuya in disbelief, before trying some of her ramen. So what do you think? Asked Naruto eagerly. It's good, I don't know if it is worth breaking out of the hospital and possibly getting locked up for good, but it's good, said Tayuya, before returning to her meal. Well, I'd say this is a surprise brat, but that be a lie, said Jiraiya as he walked into the ramen shop and sat 2 seats to Naruto's left. I thought you had things to take care of. Questioned Naruto in confusion. I do and am just heading out, but well, someone got a little nervous about your guest being gone, replied Jiraiya. Let me guess, the stripper? Questioned Tayuya from Naruto's right before feeling a kunai pressed against her throat. What was that? Asked Anko dangerously. Tayuya merely smirked and pushed her throat against the kunai, shocking Anko and AM. Stripper, said Tayuya, suddenly appearing to Naruto's left, in between him and Jiraiya, her ramen bowl in tow. What the hell was that? Questioned Anko. More importantly, how come you didn't freak out Naruto? Asked Jiraiya seriously. Well, I did fight with Tayuya before, I know she is really good at Jinjutsu, and I know she isn't stupid, so I figured she must be pranking Anko, said Naruto, with a childish grin. So wait, a genin is smarter than me now and not just any genin, but a dumbus, muttered Anko. Hey. I heard that. Shouted Naruto indignantly. Whatever brat, you're just small fry anyway, huffed Anko. Yeah? Tell that to Shukaku and Gaara or Neji or even Mizuki, retorted Naruto heatedly. It'll give you Shukaku, but the rest were just small fry, said Anko, waving her hand dismissively. Well, I beat Tayuya too, and she outsmarted you, so there. Declared Naruto triumphantly. Really now? That's impressive Naruto, if you could beat Tayuya here, I wonder why you couldn't beat someone else, probed Jiraiya, only for Naruto to adopt a sullen expression. That was different, protested Naruto. Ace a kid, pink eye is just like I was now, so you need to act like it, said Tayuya. I know, but it doesn't make it any easier, muttered Naruto. Well, it'll just have to help you then, besides, I owe Snakeface a good kick in the well, if he is in a male body, balls, declared Tayuya. Well, you're getting awfully chummy with someone, I wonder if there is some ulterior motive, commented Anko. Screw you lady. Besides, he did beat me, and this ramen is pretty good, said Tayuya, before turning back to her meal. Ha! Ramen is the greatest, it could end all war even if everyone shared a bowl, proclaimed Naruto. Brat, if that idea works, I will shave my head bald, laughed Jiraiya. Then you better get your razor ready old perv, said Naruto challengingly. Damn it brat, show me some respect. Roared Jiraiya in annoyance. Never, not as long as you keep doing your research, huffed Naruto. Whatever, in any case, you two need to get back to the hospital, particularly you, Tayuya, since we need some information from you, said Jiraiya, before getting off his stool and leaving. Fine, let's go Whiskers, said Tayuya, as she dragged Naruto off his stool. But I didn't finish. Protested Naruto, as Tayuya dragged him away. Oh yeah, you can pay this time, right Snake Lady? Said Tayuya, before fading away with Naruto. What? Little twerp grumbled Anko, before looking back at the counter and seeing a sea of bowls stacked up. What the hell is this? Shouted Anko in shock. Jiraiya had consumed a single bowl, and Naruto had predictably polished off an even dozen, but somehow, Tayuya had racked up half a dozen as well. I'm honestly surprised she could even eat that much, although, it is cute that both Naruto and his girlfriend like ramen so much, commented AM pleasantly. Girlfriend? Girlfriend my ass. What kind of kunoichi demolishes half a dozen bowls of ramen in 15 minutes? Questioned Anko in outrage. Anko, don't you regularly consume dozens of dango in one sitting? Asked AM, with a bemused grin. That's different, dango isn't as fattening as ramen, and I exercise heaps to keep my figure, how the hell can someone put that much away? Protested Anko. Well, maybe you can go ask her. Suggested AM. Damn right I will, said Anko, as she made to leave, only to hear AM clear her throat. As Anko turned back to the bubbly girl, she felt a tingle roll down her spine and a bead of sweat go down her forehead. After you pay of course, Anko, said AM, with a sickeningly sweet smile, which unnerved the snake mistress even more than her former master ever had. Oh of course, stuttered Anko, as she pulled out a wad of bills and placed them on the countertop, before leaving in a body flicker. AM, you know I love you, but sometimes you are absolutely terrifying, commented Tucci, as he walked up to his daughter. Oh, that can't be true, I'm just doing my job after all, as a simple ramen worker, refuted AM with a smile. Arriving back at the hospital, Naruto had woken up in. Naruto and Tayuya were greeted to the sight of a slightly miffed Hokage, arms crossed under her enormous bust. "Really Naruto, you couldn't wait an hour?" asked Tsunade in mild annoyance. "But Ramen," whined Naruto sadly. Tsunade merely sighed and uncrossed her arms. "In any case, I will need to speak with you now, Tayuya. Naruto, you better stay in this room until we get back, or so help me, next time you're back here, I will tie you to the bed," said Tsunade, turning a warning glare on the blonde. "Ha, as if you could even catch me to try," laughed Naruto boisterously. "Well, I could always break a leg or two, for your health after all," said Tsunade, with a gleam in her eyes, causing Naruto to shudder and quickly sit down on the bed. "That's better, now, come with me, Tayuya," said Tsunade, turning an expectant gaze on Tayuya, who clicked her tongue slightly, before following the busty blonde out of the room. As the door closed behind them, Naruto gave a small smirk. "Not likely," muttered Naruto. "So, Naruto, what are you planning to do now?" asked Kurama. "Well, the idea of her joining Team 7 isn't too likely as of now, however, getting started on some training would be good, it'll just have to wait that little bit longer to tone my behavior down to bearable levels. Remind me again why I had to do that," thought Naruto. "So Yao'd be given more freedom and watched less closely," answered Kurama. "Right, speaking of watching, are we ever going to deal with the fake Uchiha?" asked Naruto. "Which one?" asked Kurama with a grin, which caused Naruto to laugh internally. "Funny, but you know which one, Hess getting annoying, I'm worried he might try something drastic soon," thought Naruto, as he frowned on the outside. "Just wait until after the trip," said Kurama, placating his host, who sighed audibly. "Line break." Tsunade stared from within a small room, through the two-way mirror in front of her. Inside the room was Tayuya and Ibiki, with Anko lurking in the corner, looking at Tayuya distrustfully. Given her compliance, Tayuya was unrestrained, despite Anko's protests. Ibiki had asked all the routine questions within a minute, getting various desired answers from Tayuya, albeit with a bit of sass. They had moved on to Orochimaru's bases a few minutes ago, and Tayuya had been true to her word, giving out many bases, without a second thought. After finishing, Tayuya sat there impatiently, waiting for them to tell her she was free to move around. The wait ate away at Tayuya's nerves, compounded by the fact that Anko had yet to stop glaring at her. "Boy, big tits, are we done here, or do I need to keep letting this skank eye hump me?" shouted Tayuya at the mirror, knowing Tsunade was there. "What was that, you little brat? You better watch what you say, or I'll introduce you to some of my favorite toys," said Anko in anger. "I don't want to see your damn dildos. I bet they're modeled on snakes too, you sick freak," snorted Tayuya. Anko's eyebrow twitched rapidly in irritation. Ibiki merely glanced at Anko for a moment before rising from his seat and leaving the two alone, going to distribute the information they had just gained on Orochimaru's bases through the appropriate channels. "Well, would you look at that, just the two of us alone together," said Anko in amusement. "Don't get any ideas, you sick freak, I don't swing that way. Besides, I'm sure that snake gave you plenty already," growled Tayuya. Tsunade watched in mild amusement as the two former subordinates of Orochimaru argued with each other before an Anbu entered the room she was in. "Lady Hokage, it seems there has been an incident in the maximum security prison," said the Anbu. "I see, give me the details briefly," said Tsunade, turning a sharp gaze on the Anbu. "Just an hour ago, a prison break led by Mizuki, with the help of Fugitives and Raijin, took place. Nearly every prisoner escaped, but most have now been recaptured and returned to the facility. However, Mizuki, Fugitives and Raijin are still unaccounted for," said the Anbu. "Very well then, I'll deal with it now, dismissed," said Tsunade before the Anbu left. Tsunade turned back to the duo, who had previously been arguing, only to find the two of them glaring at each other, with murder in their eyes. Tsunade sighed, before exiting the hidden area and heading to the door of the interrogation room. "Anko, Tayuya, I'm giving the two of you a mission," barked Tsunade as she entered, breaking up the heated exchange. "What?" asked both Tayuya and Anko in confusion. "Just a short while ago, there was a prison break, 3 of them are still on the loose, Fugitives and Raijin, the legendary stupid brothers and Mizuki, your mission is to apprehend them as soon as possible," said Tsunade. "Mizuki is that the retard who tried to steal the scroll of seals?" asked Tayuya thoughtfully. "How did you know that?" asked Anko suspiciously. "Well, who do you think he was stealing it for? A Chunin isn't going to be able to do shit with that thing," scoffed Tayuya. "So you mean to say he was stealing it for Orochimaru?" asked Tsunade. "Yeah, I mean he did want to know every jutsu in the world or something like that," answered Tayuya honestly. "In that case, it is even more important that the two of you apprehend Mizuki as soon as possible. In fact, you might as well take Naruto with you, he may be able to help," said Tsunade. That and the fact that the two of them together alone might not be the best idea, thought Tsunade to herself. Line break. Naruto had been waiting in his hospital room for 2 hours now and was getting annoyed. You don't think she forgot about me, do you? Asked Naruto curiously. Possibly, said Kurama noncommittally. Naruto was looking up at the roof, back resting comfortably on his hospital bed, waiting patiently. Hey kid, get up, we've got a mission, said Anko, entering his room with Tayuya following shortly behind. What? What do you mean? Granny told me to wait here until she got back or she'd tie me to the bed, said Naruto in confusion as he sat up. Well, change of plans, some dumbasses broke out of jail and we need to go round them up, said Tayuya. We? Questioned Naruto stupidly. Yes, we, the three of us, now let's go. Shouted Anko. Naruto jumped into action, fumbling around the room for a moment before standing up straight. Ready to go. Exclaimed Naruto exuberantly. Good, stay right behind me then, let's go, barked Anko, disappearing in a body flicker. With an ass that big, we can't miss it, muttered Tayuya. Your envy of posterior's better than yours is childish, Tayuya, just train your body a bit more and you might get one as nice as Anko's, or even mine, chuckled Naruto, before dashing off after Anko. My ass is fine damn it. Shouted Tayuya angrily, before following the reckless duo. Line break. Mizuki's long silver hair framed his face as he stood in front of his fiancée, Tsubaki. Tsubaki had dark eyes and long black hair, which she wore braided down her back, with jaw-length bangs, framing both sides of her face. Why do you still want to get involved with Orochimaru? He attacked the Leaf Village and caused the death of many, even the third Hokage himself. Why, Mizuki? Please, go back to the kind man you once were, pleaded Tsubaki. Tsubaki, you had to wait for me, I'm sorry. Now though, we can have everything we want just as soon as we meet up with Lord Orochimaru, said Mizuki. Mizuki, please, just return to the village, return to me, give up on Orochimaru, implored Tsubaki desperately. Tsubaki, whispered Mizuki, looking at Tsubaki with a soft gaze. Tsubaki looked at Mizuki hopefully, only for Mizuki's expression to shift into one of anger before Tsubaki felt a fist strike her in the gut, causing her to black out. Line break. Where are we even going? Asked Tayuya in annoyance. Just shut up and follow me, growled Anko. You don't actually have any idea, do you? Asked Tayuya, with narrowed eyes. Just shut up, muttered Anko. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Shouted Naruto, coming to a halt, spotting his old academy instructor on the street below. Naruto, what are you doing? Asked Iruka, looking up and spotting the massive orange that was his favorite student. We're looking for Mizuki, he broke out of started Naruto, before his mouth was covered. What the hell are you thinking, Brad? Yelling something like that out loud for the village to hear, hissed Anko in his ear. But Iruka-sensei can help, said Naruto, pulling the hand off his mouth. I can, I am an adept censor and know of Mizuki's behavior rather well, said Iruka, leaping up to the roof where the trio currently were. Anko looked at Iruka for a moment, examining him, before nodding. Okay, here's what we know, Mizuki broke out of prison a few hours ago, with the help of the legendary Stupid Brothers, we have reason to believe he has a method of contact with Orochimaru and may or may not be heading there now, said Anko quickly. Well, there could only be one real place for Mizuki to visit if he doesn't immediately escape the village, that would be the place where his fiancée lives, up in the mountains, said Iruka thoughtfully. Wow, you're a genius, Iruka-sensei. We were just running around all over the place, exclaimed Naruto, ignoring the miffed look Anko gave him. Very well, lead the way then, said Anko, looking back to Iruka, who gave a quick nod. Are you annoying her on purpose? Asked Tayuya quietly, after Iruka and Anko had leapt away. Of course, I'm bored, replied Naruto cheerfully, before following after them. Ridiculous, muttered Tayuya, before following suit as well. Line break. What do you mean, Zetsu? Asked a man, with two purple eyes. Exactly what it sounds like, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki merely let the Uchiha go to Orochimaru without a fight, said Zetsu. Heh, sounds like the brat got scared, laughed a large man with blue skin. Nope, you should have seen him, he was exceedingly calm and collected, not even reacting when Itachi's little brother started yelling at him about some scroll he gave him, commented Zetsu. Two pairs of red eyes narrowed slightly at this. Itachi, do you have any idea about what was in this scroll? Asked the man, with purple eyes. No, replied the red-eyed man calmly. Here's a question, why do we even care? After almost 7 years, we meet back up again and for what? Some brat having an attitude change, yeah, complained a blonde-haired man. Well, Dadara, if you used your head, you'd realize this brat is also the holder of the Kyuubi, which does make this important, admonished a gruff-sounding man. Does it really matter though? One way or another, we're going to capture that little brat, added a man wearing a strange necklace. He doesn't have a bounty yet anyway, added a tall man, with green eyes. Itachi, kiss him, approach the Kyuubi Jinchuriki once more. Jiraiya is leaving the village for a few months, and the recent state of affairs should be enough to distract the Hokage. If you can capture him now, we will be one step closer to peace. If not, at least ascertain the truth behind Zetsu's observation, spoke the purple-eyed man. Itachi simply nodded before his red eyes disappeared from the gathering place. I better leave too then, grinned the blue-skinned man, revealing numerous razor-sharp teeth before his form faded as well. Line break. Mizuki had finally done it, the instructions of the potion, which had been imprinted into him by Orochimaru, was ready, the elixir, which would give him ultimate power, was in his grasp. Mizuki walked outside to see who had arrived to stop him. As expected, there was the ever-naive Iruka and the demon child as well. Mizuki scoffed, seeing just how well the demon had brainwashed Iruka. Before noticing the other three with him, there was Tsubaki, his fiancée. It seemed as though she was still trying to stop him from attaining true power. Next to her was one of the dumbest people in the village, in Mizuki's mind, Orochimaru's former apprentice, Anko Mitarashi. Did she even realize just what she had squandered? Probably not. Lastly, in between her and the Kyuubi brat was some girl. She didn't look remarkable in any way, and Mizuki ignored her, focusing back on his two main targets. Iruka, well, it has been a while, hasn't it? Greeted Mizuki tauntingly. Mizuki, why are you doing all of this? Asked Iruka predictably, causing Mizuki to scoff. Why? What kind of a question is that? To get the acknowledgement I deserve. No one in this village respects my abilities, no one in this stupid village. Now though, I even hear about them acknowledging the damned Kyuubi brat of all things. The bloody demon that killed your parents even. The beast that killed so many in this village. They acknowledge him and not me. Shouted Mizuki. Iruka had nervously glanced at the red-haired girl next to Naruto momentarily, wondering if she knew about Naruto's situation, but upon her not reacting to Mizuki's words, he calmed down. Now though, Lord Orochimaru has given me true power. Exclaimed Mizuki, before downing the strange drink he had made, which was a glowing crimson in color. Mizuki's form started to glow slightly, as his chakra output increased, black stripes formed on Mizuki's arms and face, his arms stretched out in size, the veins underneath becoming more prominent. This is the power I deserve. Exclaimed Mizuki triumphantly, while Tsubaki slumped to her knees. DCH, that just looks like a knockoff curse seal, commented Tayuya disdainfully. Haha, what would you know about the power Orochimaru can give? Asked Mizuki mockingly. I don't know, maybe the fact that I was his subordinate for years and had a cursed seal of my own, Dumbus grunted Tayuya, causing Mizuki to pause for a moment before laughing. Ahahaha, so you were just another failed experiment like her, laughed Mizuki, gesturing to Anko. Failed experiment my ass, I'll beat you to a bloody smear for that. Shouted Tayuya before summoning her Doki. You can all sit back and watch, this just became personal, said Tayuya, before blowing into her flute. What a joke, are you trying to lull me to sleep? Mocked Mizuki, only for the Doki with a club to lunge at him, ready to strike him. Mizuki hastily dodged the attack, only to find the armless Doki dropping down on him from above. A quick backflip backward saved Mizuki from being crushed. Rasengan! Cried Naruto, lashing out at Mizuki. Mizuki grabbed a large shuriken on his back and swung out at Naruto, tearing into him, before he vanished in a puff of smoke. Hey, Mizuki, wanna know a secret? Whispered Naruto into Mizuki's ear, causing him to lash out behind him, only to strike nothing. You're actually kind of right about me, echoed Naruto's voice. I am a demon, just not the Kyuubi, said Naruto, appearing in front of Mizuki. Mizuki glared at Naruto hatefully, only for Naruto to grow horns and a tail. Naruto's skin cracked open before reddish-orange flesh was revealed, looking as hard as steel. Naruto's eyes turned into black pools of nothingness, which bore into Mizuki's soul. I'll kill you, demon brat. Shouted Mizuki in anger, throwing his shuriken at Naruto. The blade tore a chunk of Naruto's torso out, only for it to be quickly filled in, right before Mizuki's disbelieving eyes. What's with that look? You didn't think a singly puny shuriken would be able to kill a demon, did you, Mizuki? Asked Naruto tauntingly, walking closer to Mizuki. Just before Naruto could reach Mizuki, his form was replaced with that of a Doki, who swung his arm out at Mizuki and nailed him in the gut. Mizuki quickly regained himself, only to look over to the ninja, who had been tracking him down. Iruka was still standing there with Tsubaki and Anko, the red-haired girl a little in front of them. Directly in front of him was Naruto, the Doki forming a loose ring around him. Finally showing your true colors, demon brat. Growled Mizuki. I'm no demon, I'm Naruto Uzumaki and someday I'm going to become Hokage, believe it. Exclaimed Naruto. Don't mess with me. Shouted Mizuki, only for another swing from the club-wielding Doki to strike him. Mizuki growled in anger, slamming his palm into the ground to slow his body down before it started glowing again. The markings around him twisted as he transformed into a tiger-like being. His flesh became yellow fur on the outside, with cream along his face, abdomen and hands. 2 tiger-like ears sprouted from his head and his hair became shaggier. His form grew in size as well, shredding his jacket as his torso expanded, leaving him bare-chested, revealing the rippling muscle beneath. "I'll crush you, demon brat," shouted Mizuki, only for the sound of the flute he had heard absent-mindedly before to intensify. "Silly Mizuki, you couldn't ever hope to beat me, I'm just toying with you, you want to know something? I even tricked Tsubaki into thinking I was you. I used my demonic powers and made her think I was you. She was so happy to finally have her old Mizuki back," said Naruto calmly, walking towards Mizuki. In fact, she wanted to express her happiness through actions. "Really Mizuki, what were you thinking, leaving such an innocent girl like her behind? Well, you chased Orochimaru. Oh well, your loss was my gain," said Naruto tauntingly. "I'll kill you," roared Mizuki, shredding through Naruto with his claws, only for Naruto to turn into smoke and flow behind him. Mizuki quickly turned around to face the blonde, who spoke once again. "I mean, you had to know what would happen. I don't like being targeted personally by people, so of course I had to come and extract revenge myself. Poor Tsubaki just happened to be ripe for the taking. Do you want to know what happened to her? Or, more accurately, do you want to know what she and I did?" asked Naruto, with a grin. Line break. "What's wrong with Mizuki?" asked Iruka, who had been largely confused by the erratic actions of his former friend as he fought against Naruto and the 3 demonic creatures that Tayuya had summoned. "I'm working a subtle genjutsu over him, he isn't aware of it yet since Naruto and Midoki are engaging him, but he is slipping up just a little bit more and it'll have worn him down enough to end this," said Tayuya. Anko watched on curiously, preparing to step in if necessary, but ultimately decided to stay her hand, wanting to see what the former subordinate of Orochimaru could do. "If she tries to go against us after this, he'll know exactly how to put her down," thought Anko calmly. Line break. "I'll tear you to shreds," shouted Mizuki, lunging at Naruto again, who barely dodged the claw swipe. "Ah, no need to be jealous, Mizuki, I'm sure Tsubaki really did care for you, just not enough to resist my trick. That's all your fault though, she really did care for you and you threw it away, so sad, although, I'm not complaining, personally," smirked Naruto. "Shut up you demon, I'll destroy you. You think you can get away with this, deluding everyone in the Leaf Village, I'll end you," bellowed Mizuki. Mizuki just narrowly avoided a fist from one of the doki before lunging at Naruto and grabbing him by the throat. "Try again," said Naruto before disappearing in a puff of smoke. "Rasengan!" cried Naruto, burying the ball of blue chakra into Mizuki's back and slamming him into the ground. "You know what the best part is, Mizuki? No matter what you say, no one will ever believe you over me anymore," whispered Naruto. Line break. "Good job Naruto, you did it," praised Iruka. Yeah, but I definitely couldn't have done it without Tayuya's help," said Naruto, scratching the back of his head in embarrassment as he walked over to the group. "It was nothing," said Tayuya calmly before dispelling her doki. "Demon brat," gasped Mizuki as his form started to shrink and turn gray, losing its muscle mass. "So, it is just like I thought," said Tsunade, walking over to the group. Naruto briefly listened to Tsunade talk about how she had found the recipe for whatever it was that Mizuki had ingested and how it was an incomplete concoction which Orochimaru had been experimenting with. "Very nice work with that genjutsu cover," whispered Naruto, standing very close to Tayuya so only she would hear him. "Just what did you do to him anyway?" asked Tayuya quietly. "Just expanded on his fears. Mizuki already thought I was a demon, so it was child's play to make his thoughts into reality. I may have also reinforced a few of his more latent fears, such as me deceiving Tsubaki into seeing me as him. Funny, he actually did care about her for a bit, but gave up on her when she refused to follow him to Orochimaru. Still, he didn't like the idea of her finding comfort with me. Of course, it was all made up, but poor Mizuki couldn't rationalize that at all. The idea of his remaining loved one being affectionate with his greatest enemy, almost cruel, but that's Mizuki's fault for thinking it. Honestly, what would I actually want with her? Mizuki is barely a blip on my radar, but it seems I am almost everything he despises in one entity," said Naruto calmly. "Boy, brat, stop talking with your girlfriend already and come over here so I can look you over," said Tsunade. Girlfriend? What do you mean?" asked Naruto in confusion, looking around for someone. "Who are you talking about, Granny?" asked Naruto, seemingly not finding who it was Tsunade was talking about. "She means Red," supplied Anko. Tayuya? No way," shouted Naruto in disbelief. "Just what is that supposed to mean exactly?" growled Tayuya. You're not pretty like Sakura, would I want you to be my girlfriend?" asked Naruto, cleaning out his left ear with his smallest finger. "The hell are you trying to say, you little shit?" shouted Tayuya in anger, slamming a fist into Naruto's head. "Ah, you're just as violent as Sakura, but not as pretty," exclaimed Naruto, holding his head in pain as he backed away from the irate Reed. "What? He'll show you," growled Tayuya, rolling up her short sleeves. "Ah, I'm fine granny, I'll see you around," exclaimed Naruto before dashing away with Tayuya in close pursuit. "Heh, guess Jiraiya did have a bit of a point," muttered Tsunade with a smile, recalling a different pair with the same colored hair as the two who had just run off. Line break. Tayuya chased Naruto down for a few minutes before he suddenly stopped and turned to face her. Tayuya touched down on the branch next to him and schooled her features. "You know what, Tayuya, you'd make a good actor," said Naruto. "Wo's acting? You keep insulting my looks, that's enough to make me angry for real," grumbled Tayuya. "Don't worry, I don't want you for your looks anyway," said Naruto, waving his hand in her direction. Tayuya growled in annoyance, only to feel Naruto kissing her for a moment. "But for the record, you are very attractive, you could just use a bit more work to get an ass like mine," said Naruto mirthfully as he leaned back. "You know what, you are an ass, a giant pain in the ass," huffed Tayuya. "Well, too bad, you're stuck with this ass now," laughed Naruto. "When are you going to start teaching me properly anyway? I didn't decide to stick with you for shits and giggles, you know," asked Tayuya in annoyance. "As soon as we leave the village, I'll teach you properly, until then, you'll just have to stick with theory. Here's today's lesson, to make a truly powerful illusion, with minimal effort, work with the fears of your opponent, don't force an illusion on them, let their mind do it for you, that is what helps the illusions possess so much power, if your own mind spawned it, is it really an illusion? That's the trick you need to exploit," lectured Naruto. "So is that what you did with that guy back there?" asked Tayuya calmly. "Exactly that, Jinjutsu have their strength on the weak-minded, but illusions excel against the strong-minded, as they frequently tend to overthink things and are constantly imagining different scenarios occurring. It makes it that much easier to exploit at your leisure. Now, let's go get some ramen," said Naruto, his voice becoming childish towards the end as he leapt through the trees. Tayuya shook her head a little at the abrupt change in personality again before following after Naruto. "Man, is it weird when he does that," thought Tayuya, slightly unnerved at just how easily Naruto slipped between his two personas. Line break. "Well, Itachi, any plans for how to go about this little mission of ours?" asked Kisame, looking over to his partner. "We shall wait, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki will be sure to leave the village at some point eventually, that will be our time to strike," said Itachi coolly. "Waiting for a good moment to strike, eh? Sounds just like you," said Kisame thoughtfully. Itachi didn't respond, causing Kisame to chuckle. "Why how the hell are we doing this?" gasped Tayuya, resting her hands on her knees and taking deep breaths. "What, you're the one with envy, I told you we'd need to train your body more," commented Naruto from across Tayuya. The two were in the woods alongside a small stream. Naruto was wearing his orange jumpsuit but had taken the jacket off, giving him more freedom. Tayuya was about to give another snarky remark only for three bodies to float down the small stream. "Tayuya, go get something to eat, we're probably going to have a mission soon," said Naruto as he walked over to his jacket and put it on before walking over to the three bodies and hoisting them all on his shoulders. "I'll see you soon," said Naruto before leaping off the ground, heading back to the village. "Show off," grumbled Tayuya at Naruto flaunting his own physical prowess. "Wait a minute, I don't have any damn money," cursed Tayuya. Line break. Naruto took the three men to the hospital, where Tsunade just happened to have been at that moment, leading to Naruto being forced to watch over the three after she healed them. Naruto sat there, watching the three pensively. "Is something wrong, Naruto?" asked Kurama. "Nothing, I'm just wondering where I want to go from here, reflecting, that's all I'm doing," thought Naruto in response to Kurama's question. "Remember your own advice, don't overthink things or you'll get lost within your thoughts," said Kurama before going silent. What to do, what to do? Tayuya is an interesting prospect and sure to be enjoyable for a while, but what am I really aiming for?" thought Naruto, only for a soft groan to break him out of his thoughts. "Where are we?" asked one of the men. The man had short black hair and black eyes, his attire consisted of a grey bandana tied backwards and a blue yukata. "You're in the village hidden of the leaves, man, you sure got lucky I found you and Granny Tsunade healed you, what happened to you guys?" asked Naruto eagerly. "So we really made it to the Leaf Village, incredible," muttered the man before focusing on Naruto. "Who are you?" asked the man. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the next Hokage, believe it," exclaimed Naruto. "Well, we'll see about that," said Tsunade as she entered the room. "Granny, you're here," cheered Naruto, causing Tsunade's eye to twitch. "Brat, keep your voice down in the hospital, in fact, go train or something, why are you here?" growled Tsunade. I was just wondering what was going on, said Naruto calmly, cleaning his ear in boredom. And where's Tayuya? Asked Tsunade. Oh, her I dunno, I was training before and she was doing some training as well, then I left after those three floated down the stream, I think I told her to get some food or something, said Naruto thoughtfully. There you are you little shit. Screamed Tayuya, barging into the hospital room, causing Tsunade's eye to twitch in annoyance again. Well what did I do? Asked Naruto in confusion. You told me to get something to eat, but I don't have any money you idiot. Shouted Tayuya, before grabbing Naruto by the scruff of his jumpsuit and dragging him with her. Where are we going? Asked Naruto anxiously. To get something to eat, you're paying, said Tayuya bluntly. So like a date? Asked Naruto curiously. No, not like a date. Like a buy me food or I'll stick my foot up your ass thing, informed Tayuya before dragging Naruto out of the hospital. Funny, I guess it's always the retard who wears the pants, does explain why grandmother could always get away with grandfather, thought Tsunade in amusement. Line break. As Tayuya dragged Naruto through the streets, Naruto laughed to himself internally. At least she's feisty enough to not be completely submissive, even though leaps and bounds beyond her, thought Naruto in amusement, letting his new student drag him around. Tayuya continued to drag Naruto through the Leaf Village until they stopped outside a certain ramen stand. Alright, time for some food, said Tayuya, pushing Naruto through the flaps of the stand. You didn't have to be so mean about it, Tayuya, pouted Naruto as the girl sat on a stool. The hell I didn't. You told me to get food without giving me any money and that was 4 hours ago, right after training, I want food damn it. Ranted Tayuya. Fine, sheesh, you're so pushy grumbled Naruto before seating himself at a stool to Tayuya's right. A dozen bowls of ramen old man. Exclaimed Naruto exuberantly. Half of those are mine, so extra chicken, added Tayuya, getting Naruto to look at her strangely. What do you mean, that was my order? Asked Naruto in confusion. Well tough shit, I'm hungry and I will steal your food if I need to, growled Tayuya, causing Naruto to smirk for the barest instances before adopting a look of fear. But that's my ramen you can't take my ramen whimpered Naruto. Tayuya glared at Naruto, making him laugh internally before pretending to be cowed by the look. Fine, muttered Naruto submissively, causing Tayuya to grin. Damn straight, said Tayuya triumphantly before the first set of bowls came out. Naruto watched Tayuya tear into the bowl with gusto, making him chuckle to himself before doing the same, easily overtaking her. As the second set of bowls came out, Naruto turned to face Tayuya. So, Tayuya, did you enjoy being on top for a while? Asked Naruto teasingly, causing the retard to choke and splutter on her ramen. Well what are you saying? Asked Tayuya, eyes darting around the stand nervously. Relax, I've set up an illusion to make it look like we're eating ramen, I just needed the first bowl out of the way to make it convincing, I'm just looping that image over, so, did you enjoy it? Asked Naruto again. Would you let me rough you around like that anyway? Asked Tayuya, stopping her ravenous eating as well momentarily. What do you mean? You didn't really think I wanted someone who would always do whatever I say, without thinking for themselves, if I wanted that, I would have bothered to entertain that Hyuga girl, who is deeply infatuated with me, to the point of obsession, said Naruto calmly. Tayuya smirked to herself, ready to boast about that fact, only for Naruto to freeze her with his gaze. Of course, when I do ask you to do something important, I expect you to do so, just know that you have freedom outside of that, after all, I don't want things to be boring between us, said Naruto sternly, only to turn back to his ramen. Come on old man, I've still got to eat more than Tayuya. Exclaimed Naruto as Teuchi came out with another pair of bowls. Don't you worry Naruto, I doubt anyone can match your appetite anyway, Tayuya looks full over there anyway, said Teuchi. Come on Tayuya, you said you were hungry, didn't you, even if you're making me pay, said Naruto cheerfully, before grumbling the last part. Alright, I'm starving, said Tayuya, before going back to shoveling noodles into her mouth. Naruto have I ever told you that you are rather cruel? Asked Kurama. Yep, but I was just having a bit of fun this time, nothing to worry about, after all, I need Tayuya's sanity those others well, they were expendable, thought Naruto in amusement. Line break. That has got to be the biggest stretch in history, if this actually turns up a solid lead, I will kiss your non-existent ass, sighed Naruto. Yeah hey. I have an ass and just you wait, it'll make your ass look like a pancake by comparison, once I'm through with it, shouted Tayuya. The two were back at the training field, in which they had found the three men, now known to be Rakisuke, Sanguru, and Hachidai, who had escaped from their village. Their village was located in the land of rivers, near the Katabami gold mine, which had been taken over by Raiga Kurasuke. I mean, what idiot would believe that Raiga, a former swordsman of the mist, would be in contact with another former swordsman who defected at a different time? It's bad enough thinking that Raiga would somehow provide a link to Kisame, but then, to say that due to that shaky link at best, finding Raiga would lead to finding Itachi through Kisame, then, to stretch that line even further. This suggests that finding Raiga, someone only loosely affiliated with Kisame, a partner of Itachi, whom Sasuke is searching for, and thus, finding Raiga will help us find Sasuke, is the weakest bit of logic I've ever heard, lamented Naruto, shaking his head in disappointment. Why are you even bothering with it then? Asked Tayuya, still sour at Naruto's repeated shots at her posterior. To help you integrate into things here before we leave. I'm sure you know this already, being as intelligent as you are, but you aren't exactly trusted yet in this village. The stupid civilians aside, many shinobi are still distrustful of you due to the role you played in Sasuke's defection. It also doesn't help that you were part of the group which hurt many of my comrades. Most of which aren't entirely happy with you being here now. Well, they risk their lives to prevent Sasuke leaving, answered Naruto. So you're doing this so I can become butt buddies with the other genin? Asked Tayuya. Not exactly what I was trying to say, but close enough, said Naruto after a moment of thought. Well shit, I don't know if you realize, but I'm not exactly the friendliest person around. You don't get to become an elite guard of Orochimaru, of all people, by having a bleeding heart, commented Tayuya, crossing her arms over her chest. I know, fortunately for you though, Neji respects me greatly and due to certain events, is more inclined to allowing people the opportunity to redeem themselves through a second chance. Lee is, as you put it, a bleeding heart but also very loyal. He might be suspicious of you initially, but once you win him over, that likely won't ever change. Tenten will be your easiest conquest. As she wasn't particular close to Sasuke, and you being a strong Kunoichi will be enough to pique her interest. They are the best team for you to start integrating with as well, because they are from the year above Sasuke in regards to the academy, meaning they will be less likely to dislike you for endangering their friend, since Sasuke didn't really qualify for one with them anyway. Explained Naruto. It's creepy how well you know people, muttered Tayuya. Today's lesson, Tayuya, every tiny bit of information you gather is necessary in building a psychological profile on people so you can know how they will behave. An unaccounted for variable is an action you won't anticipate and could lead to your death in extreme cases. Remember that, said Naruto, before standing up. Where are we going now? Asked Tayuya, promptly following Naruto. Where else, to the gates of the village. We're finally going out for a bit, so I'm going to start your training. Early stages though, said Naruto. About time. So what's the first thing I need to do? Asked Tayuya eagerly. Not while in the village, chided Naruto, wagging his right index finger at her admonishingly. Tayuya cursed under her breath, causing Naruto to smirk. Although not related to illusions, you should really learn to control yourself. Being easily riled up makes you an easy target, lectured Naruto. Tayuya gave a stiff nod, biting the retort on the tip of her tongue, making Naruto smile. See, you're learning already, praised Naruto, before turning towards the gate. Go on ahead if you don't mind, I need to get in character, said Naruto, before leaping away from Tayuya. What is this, a damn play? Grumbled Tayuya, but continued walking towards the gate all the same. It was only a minute later that Tayuya reached the gate, spotting the three genin she would be joining along with Naruto to escort the three villagers next to them. Where is Naruto? Asked Neji flatly. Why the hell should I know? Asked Tayuya. Isn't he meant to be watching you? Queried Neji. The hell is that supposed to mean? Shouted Tayuya. Alright, let's go. Exclaimed Naruto exuberantly as he dropped down outside the village gates, having leapt from the gates themselves. Naruto started walking off, only for Neji to stop him. You're going in the wrong direction, said Neji calmly, causing Naruto to instantly whip around. Right, in that case, said Naruto, trailing off as he looked at Neji expectantly, who merely gave a small huff before pointing to his left. Right, left it is. Cheered Naruto. Line break. The group had trekked for a good 2 hours before stopping for a small break. Rakisu quickly ate his rice ball and looked quite irritated as he watched Naruto and Lee train, seemingly not caring about his comrade's life, which was hanging in the balance. Boy, Blondie. What are you doing? Asked Tayuya in irritation. Training obviously, you should do some too, you need it, said Naruto, sticking his tongue out at Tayuya. Tayuya growled to herself before walking over to the pile of rocks Naruto was balancing on before kicking one of the stones in the middle away, causing the tower to fall and Naruto with it, but he kept his balance. Nice try, laughed Naruto. Tayuya grumbled to herself before picking up a rock and hefted it on her back and started doing squats with it. I'll show you, growled Tayuya, even as she felt her legs start to burn. Fuck him unfit. Thought Tayuya, not liking Naruto's grin as he looked at her knowingly. Oh no, not another training nut, sighed Tenten, causing Naruto's left eye to quickly pan over to the brunette before returning it to his pile. Tenten, Niji. Join us in this most youthful training session. Shouted Lee loudly. Besides, Tayuya's only training to look better, she's jealous she's not as pretty as Sakura, teased Naruto. Sakura's beauty is unparalleled though, Naruto. Exclaimed Lee. The hell is wrong with you two? Shouted Tayuya, throwing the boulder off her back in irritation. Aw, don't give up yet, you can do it eventually, maybe I'll be able to match the crazy snake lady one day, said Naruto encouragingly. Crazy snake lady? You mean the sadistic bitch? Inquired Tayuya. Yeah, she's no Sakura, but I remember a lot of the genin from the Chunin exams were staring at her for a lot longer than normal, said Naruto, currently doing a handstand on his tower of rocks with his left hand while his right hand scratched the side of his head. Since when did you become the resident expert on what makes a girl pretty? Asked Tenten curiously. Well, I've grown up with perverts all my life, there was the old man Iruka-sensei, closet pervert Abisu, Kakashi-sensei and then pervy sage, to top it all off, so I'm pretty sure I've gotten a good idea by now, besides, I do have my sexy jutsu after all, I know these things, said Naruto smugly. Really? Asked Tenten disbelievingly, while Tayuya scoffed. Sure, here, I'll prove it, said Naruto, before dropping down from his pile, letting it collapse behind him, before making his signature hand sign. Shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto, as a clone of him appeared to his right. What was the point of that? Asked Tenten. Just wait, said Naruto, with a grin. Lee had momentarily stopped what he was doing to watch Naruto, while Niji looked at him in apathy, with a hint of curiosity. Sexy jutsu? Tayuya, said Naruto. Sexy jutsu? Tenten, said the clone at the same time, before both were covered in smoke, which slowly faded away. Well, what do you think? Asked a pair of seductive voices. As the smoke cleared, the collective group were stunned but reacted quite quickly. Lee blushed profusely, while Niji averted his gaze, feeling a little sick. It's disturbing how he changes his chakra network to fit his new proportions, thought Niji trying to distract himself as he couldn't deny the attractiveness of the one who set him on the right path when he transformed genders. What the hell is this? Shouted Tenten, eyes bulging out in shock. What's wrong, Tenten? Don't like what you could have with a bit of effort, spoke the clone of Naruto, which had now taken the form of a woman who was very similar to Tenten minus her new proportions. While Tenten was a very slim girl with modest curves, the brunette in front of her had much larger assets, matching those of the second exam proctor, however, they were hidden by two green towels, one barely covering her bust, with the other tied off at the waist, hanging diagonally over her thighs. The brunette's hair was also tied into two braided plaits. Yeah, I mean, we do know what we're doing, commented the original Naruto, who had taken the form of a redeeted woman. Tayuya growled lightly as she examined the girl in front of her and couldn't help feeling annoyed. The face was unmistakably hers, only the features were softened somewhat. The hair was much longer though, reaching her ankles, with should-length strands, which framed both sides of her face, and a black clip that parted her hair to the left. However, the curves, while also enhanced, in fact, beyond those of Anko, were stuffed into a horizontally stripped, orange and black, two-piece bikini. Then, to complete things, both Naruto and his clone leaned forward, emphasizing their respective busts, before blowing a kiss at Tayuya and Tenten. Well, what do you think? Both purred at the stunned girls. The clone beside Naruto couldn't even blink before it was dispelled by numerous pointy objects, before the original Naruto found a fist planted into the back of his head, slamming him into the ground and disrupting his transformation. What the hell do you think this is, you little shit? Roared Tayuya. Hey. I was just showing you what you could look like if you worked your flat ass a bit more. Shouted Naruto, surprising the other three genin, having never heard such language from Naruto. Should I be concerned that you modeled your ideal form of Tayuya on your mother? Asked Kurama in a lazy drawl. You should already know the answer to that, thought Naruto calmly. I do, said Kurama calmly, causing Naruto to smirk. Bloody humans and their Oedipus complexes, grumbled Kurama. It'll have you know that I am well aware of the difference between my mother and Tayuya. For one thing, they have different eye colors, and Tayuya has tanner skin, closer to my own, thought Naruto calmly. Kurama gave a snort but let the issue go, letting Naruto refocus on Tayuya. Naruto felt himself get picked up by the scruff of his jumpsuit before Tayuya shook him. I don't have a flat ass and I'll bloody prove it, I'll sit on your face and suffocate you, then what? Threatened Tayuya. Ha! That thing couldn't suffocate an ant. Mocked Naruto, laughing in her face. Tayuya grit her teeth before slamming her head into Naruto's. Fuck. Why is your head so bloody hard? Cursed Tayuya, clutching her forehead in pain as she dropped Naruto to the ground. Because I'm awesome, believe it. Exclaimed Naruto. Tayuya muttered soft curses to herself before walking away from Naruto, heading back to where she was sitting before. "Naruto," said Tenten, getting Naruto to look at her. "Don't do that again," said Tenten sweetly. "Ever," said Tenten, pulling out a kunai in a flash and embedding it into the ground just below Naruto's family jewels. "Fine, that will be the only time I use sexy jutsu." "Tenten," said Naruto calmly. "Good," said Tenten happily. "But I'm still going to use it in my sexy harem jutsu," muttered Naruto, only for Tenten to hear him. "What?" shouted Tenten. "I regret nothing," shouted Naruto before running away from Tenten and the flood of pointy objects being thrown at him. "How much longer are you ninja going to play around for? We need to get moving if we're going to save Kanpachi," asked Rakusuke. Naruto suddenly stopped in place, alarming Tenten, who had just launched over a dozen kunai and shuriken at him. Naruto quickly pulled out 2 kunai and gripped them with the blade jutting out just under his 5th finger before quickly deflecting the onslaught of weapons aimed at him. "We're ninja," said Naruto, putting his 2 kunai away. "However, we're not miracle workers," said Naruto, showing a bit of blood on his hand from where a shuriken had nicked him, studying his hand intensely, seemingly lost in thought. "Besides, don't you know how long Kanpachi has been down there? It's hard, but we can't do anything for him," said Hachidai. "That's right, we will stop those people who took over your village though, that's a promise," said Naruto seriously, gripping his bloodied hand and holding it out to Rakusuke. Rakusuke grit his teeth at this and looked to the ground. "Why? Why does he have to die and we get to live?" asked Rakusuke bitterly. "That's fate," said Niji. "It's got nothing to do with fate, you 3 risked your asses to get help, this guy didn't, you're all alive because you pushed on, if you weren't willing to take a risk, then prepare to die, that's not a ninja thing either, that is life, you either fight for everything you can, or die, there's no in between," said Tayuya in annoyance. The genin under might guy turned to Tayuya, mulling over her words. "She's right, life isn't all sunshine and rainbows after all," said Naruto calmly, looking back at his hand again in thought, clenching it briefly, before relaxing it. Rakusuke looked down at this, before giving a small nod of acceptance. "Come on, we've rested enough now," said Niji, standing up before heading off again, prompting the group to quickly pack up their things and follow. Line break. The group trudged on until they reached a curry shop. Lee seemed to be familiar with the owner and chatted animatedly with her before she offered the group lodgings in her little shop. "You'll see, the curry of life saved me from death, it has amazing healing powers and is packed full of flavor," exclaimed Lee in excitement. As a plate of rice and boiling black curry was placed in front of the group, Naruto blanched. Naruto watched Lee eat his curry before looking back at his plate in trepidation. "Kurama, if this is poisoned or something, you'll heal me, right?" thought Naruto nervously. "Of course," said Kurama calmly. Naruto took a tentative mouthful, brought it to his lips and tasted the curry only to feel as though he had swallowed a volcano. The entire group passed out from the spice, leaving Lee to be the only one capable of speech and inquired about Kurashi, Grandma Sancho's grandson, hearing that he had joined the Kurasuke family, the very same group terrorizing the villagers, caused Naruto to pause. "Why would someone think terrorizing others makes them strong?" thought Naruto. "Did you forget what you did to Mizuki?" asked Kurama. "That's different, I am strong, this Kurashi person is not, Mizuki deserved it, those villagers didn't," thought Naruto matter-of-factly. "Well, does it really matter?" asked Kurama. Naruto merely hummed in thought, ruminating on his musings. Line break. It was now night time and Naruto sat outside the shop, watching the moon. "What are you doing out here?" asked Tayuya. Naruto glanced at Tayuya for a moment before patting the ground next to him. Sit," said Naruto calmly. "Is that an order?" scoffed Tayuya. "No, it was a request, do you want it to be an order?" replied Naruto, pointing an expectant gaze at Tayuya. The girl huffed before sitting next to Naruto, causing the tiniest of smiles to appear on Naruto's face. The two sat there in silence for a while, looking up at the sky. Naruto seemed to be deep in thought, while Tayuya was slightly fidgety, looking at Naruto occasionally, before glancing to the sky and back to the shop. "Tayuya, what do you think it means to be strong?" asked Naruto suddenly. "What?" asked Tayuya in surprise. Naruto turned to face the girl, focusing an intense stare on her. "Do you think you are strong?" asked Naruto. "Obviously," scoffed Tayuya. "Are you stronger than Orochimaru?" asked Naruto. "Hell no. That guy's a freak," answered Tayuya quickly. "Why?" asked Naruto curiously. "The fuck do you mean why?" asked Tayuya. "What makes you think he is stronger than you? Has he proved it definitively, to the point that you will never be stronger than him, no matter what you do?" asked Naruto. "What kind of a stupid question is that?" asked Tayuya. Naruto merely stared at Tayuya, waiting for her answer. "Yeah, he beat me and those other 3 heaps of times, even when we worked together, hell, even Kamembro could do that," said Tayuya. So, you don't think that in time, you could become stronger than him? Asked Naruto. What's your point? Asked Tayuya after a pause. I'm just curious, this Kurashi person thinks joining the Kurasuki family makes him strong, undoubtedly, he viewed himself as weak prior to this, so why does he now think he is stronger? Did he actually get any stronger, or is it that his mentality has changed? Why do you think you can never be stronger than Orochimaru? Jiraiya was once weaker than Orochimaru, but I can say with certainty now that that is no longer the case, said Naruto thoughtfully. Okay then, let me ask you a question, are you strong? Asked Tayuya. Of course, answered Naruto instantly. How strong? Asked Tayuya. Naruto hummed at this, giving it some thought. Well, in the right scenario, I could be the strongest person in the world, said Naruto calmly. How the hell can you think that? Asked Tayuya curiously, raising an eyebrow in surprise. Life is just a bunch of random events strung together, was it always planned that you would be sent to retrieve Sasuke? Was it always planned for me to go on this mission? No, these things happen because of circumstance. I have spent many years studying circumstances and people, scenarios, reactions, actions, anything people do. I've been focusing on it since I was a kid to help me better understand others. I started doing it trying to figure out why I was hated, but after meeting Kurama, I shifted my focus to using it to better understand people as a whole. That being said, I still don't know why people put random, irrational thoughts into their own minds, said Naruto, looking at the sky once again. Well, that was pointless. Where were you going with this? Queried Tayuya in thought. Do you think you can become stronger than me? Illusions aside, of course, asked Naruto. Hell, I can try, but with a massive demon in your gut, I doubt I can do anything to match that, said Tayuya calmly. Yet a piece of Fuinjutsu, albeit a complex piece, holds it inside me and kept it subservient until I tweak things. What is to say you cold learn something like that and become as feared as the fourth Hokage himself? Pointed out Naruto. Well shit, you're right, said Tayuya softly, after a moment of thought. That is the first step of training in illusions, Tayuya, you need to learn to not set restrictions on yourself. The whole point of them is to take what already exists within a person's mind and manifest it. If you believe yourself to be weak, you are. If you believe yourself to be strong, you are. That is why, always remember, believe it, believe in yourself. Or you will never be able to become the strongest you can be, believe in your potential, or you will never grow, believe in your capacity to grow, or you will never adapt, believe that you can adapt and become something great in time, or you will never evolve, believe that you can evolve, or you will stagnant and you will remain weak, said Naruto. Hey, can I ask you something? Asked Tayuya. You just did, but go on, said Naruto, with a small smirk. What was the point of that random ass jutsu you used, turning into a girl? Asked Tayuya. An attractive girl, two of them actually, amended Naruto in amusement. Whatever, why? Asked Tayuya. I see your observational skills still need work. Did you not see your failure to form a connection with Tenten? That needed to be rectified quickly. Tenten is not the type of person to wait for a connection to form. Out of Guy's team, she associates the least with the other rookies and myself. She is driven by her role model, in the form of Tsunade, and doesn't see much outside her team. Well, this has changed. In light of the invasion and the defection by Sasuke, she won't have warmed to you without any type of facilitation. Lee is practically on your side already, and Niji is about neutral. However, you had no ground with Tenten, as childish as it may be though. Righteous fury at your forms being perverted by myself gives you at least some common ground. While not exactly the best starting point, it endears a certain sense of familiarity that you are not vastly different to her. From this point on, your relationship can develop more organically, as now you have something in common. Disdain for that one jutsu. After this mission, you will have this experience as well. These things are all necessary in getting Niji to warm up to you. While Lee is a poor judge of character, believing the best in everyone, Niji is shrewder. However, getting Tenten to see you amicably will help sway Neji's opinion, along with my own. This then would give you a team in your pocket, and afterwards, we can work towards another team accepting you. Shikamaru is level-headed, and Choji is also very kind. Don't call him fat though, and Ino, while rather frivolous in her ninja mentality, is more focused than Sakura. Convincing Niji will help sway Shikamaru, and swaying Shikamaru sways Choji. Both of them sway Ino, and then only one team remains, as Sakura will likely not warm to you, while Sasuke leaving is still fresh, said Naruto coolly. All of that from you using that stupid jutsu, muttered Tayuya in shock. Remember today's lesson, Tayuya, every tiny bit of information you gather is necessary in building a psychological profile on people so you can know how they will behave. An unaccounted for variable is an action you won't anticipate and could lead to your death in extreme cases. Remember that. It would do you well to start doing this now. You will need to pick up on these things yourself as well in order to use illusions to their full capacity. If you know how someone will react to certain things, you can then use that to make them act the way you want them to, said Naruto pointedly. Yeah, I got it, said Tayuya absent-mindedly. Not yet, you don't. If you did, you'd realize Rakisuke has most likely already rushed off to the village in a foolish attempt to save his friend. Come, let's rejoin the others, said Naruto, standing up and offering a hand to Tayuya. I can get up myself, said Tayuya, ignoring the hand. You know, there is no need to be rude, said Naruto, with a small frown. Well, too damn bad, that's just how I am, deal with it, grunted Tayuya. Well, maybe now, but time changes people and I excel at it, illusions or no illusions, hummed Naruto. The two walked towards the curry shop and made their way to their rooms, only for Lee to be there, with Neji and Tenten, looking panicked. Naruto, Rakisuke has disappeared, exclaimed Lee. Most likely to go and save that friend of theirs, added Neji, looking to the other two workers. Naruto glanced at Tayuya and gave her a discreet look, enjoying her gobsmacked expression. Rakisuke was desperately clawing at the ground, trying to unearth their friend who had been buried. Just hold on, it'll get you out, declared Rakisuke, only for a group of men to accost him. No. Screamed Rakisuke in fear before being dragged away. Line break. So Neji, what's the plan here anyway? Asked Naruto. We need to investigate first, running blindly into things is never a good option, said Neji. Hey, it works for me most of the time, protested Naruto. Really? Remind me how your last mission outside the village went, scoffed Tayuya, causing Naruto to frown. Point taken, said Naruto sourly, causing Neji to raise an eyebrow. The group made their way to where the villagers were being forced to mine gold and noticed a few men in cloaks were directing them. Come on Neji, we've got them right where we want them now, said Naruto. Not yet, we need to finish canvassing the area, there may be more of them around hiding or keeping watch, said Neji. Naruto gave a huff of irritation, which turned into a growl when he saw an old man fall over, only for the men in cloaks to start yelling and taunting him. Right, you just leave this to me, said Lee calmly, preparing to jump down there, only for Tayuya to pull him back down harshly. No, leave this to me, seriously, you are just as impulsive as him, grumbled Tayuya, before pulling her flute out. A sharp piercing melody was heard by the men down there before they fell down unconscious. See, was that so difficult? Said Tayuya before jumping down there. I must say, that was quite an efficient way of dealing with things, appraised Neji, as the other four followed her. Of course it is, sticking out and being flashy where I grew up got you killed, or worse, recruited, said Tayuya. Why would being recruited be a bad thing? Asked Lee. Because the recruiter was Orochimaru, said Tayuya. I thought I recognized you, said Neji, stiffening up slightly. Yeah, I was on the other side of your last mission, it would have been my last mission too, if I didn't manage to run away fast enough and save his life, don't let that stop you though, if you want to be like Pinky and start declaring how all of this is my fault, then go right ahead, like I give a damn anyway, said Tayuya, crossing her arms over her chest. I see that explains at the very least what you are doing on this mission with us, I wondered why the Hokage would assign someone we had never met to our mission, now I know I suppose, you're on a probation of sorts, aren't you? In other words, your fate is hanging in the balance currently, said Neji. The hell it is. I'm making my own fate. If it was just bloody hanging in the balance, I'm sure that trenchcoat lesbian would have already strapped me down and had her way with me, huffed Tayuya. Trenchcoat lesbian? Questioned Tenten. She means the second exam lady, Anko whatever, said Naruto, before turning to the downed man, who was in shock. No, what have you done? Quickly, you need to do the same to me, or they will think I did this. Cried the old man in fear. Here, take it easy old man, you look like you need something to drink, said Naruto, offering his water to the man, only for him to slap it away. Hey, what are you doing? Yelled Naruto in indignation, only for the man to ignore him and start punching himself in the face before the sound of a gong was heard. Oh no, a funeral, whispered the man in fear. A funeral? Is that what that bell means? Asked Neji. That sound is signaling for all of us to attend a funeral, Raiga is going to bury someone alive, said the old man. That's horrible. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard of, exclaimed Tenten in shock. That won't be for you, would it? Asked Neji. No, I heard they caught Rakisuke this morning, said the old man. Rakisuke, we need to save him, exclaimed Naruto. We will deal with our previous mission later as well, all I need to know moving forward for this mission is can we trust you? Said Neji to Naruto before turning to Tayuya. Well, I didn't try to kill you in your sleep, which is more than what I can say for what happened in sound, besides, he seems to trust me, isn't that enough? Replied Tayuya, gesturing to Naruto. I suppose, anyway, let's go, said Neji, before the group of four took off. Line break. The group of 5 made their way to the burial site, which was marked with numerous gravestones. A group of men were currently standing around one such grave which looked freshly dug. Neji activated his Byakugan and focused on the grave, eventually picking up that there was a living person inside. "Let's move, there is someone still alive inside that coffin," said Neji, prompting the other 4 to nod and rushed the men. Naruto, Tayuya, Tenten and Lee quickly dealt with a foe each, rendering them unconscious. Naruto and Neji both spotted one more man hiding off to the side. The man panicked and prepared to flee, only for Lee to drop down behind him and throw a fist towards his face. The man cried out fear and fell on his bottom, causing Lee to pause as he noticed something. "Karashi? Is that you?" asked Lee in shock. The man removed his hood and huffed. "Yeah, so what?" asked Karashi. "What are you doing here with these men? Why are you not with your grandmother?" asked Lee. "I'm making a difference here instead of working in a curry shop. The man who is in charge is a great man, he liberated the gold mines and saved the people," said Karashi. "Karashi, it was more than just a curry that you made, it literally saved my life. Now, you are working with these people who have no regard for human life, how can you?" shouted Lee. "What did I ever get making curry all day? Nothing, here is part of the Kurisuke family, I'm part of something bigger, something powerful and feared, I'm important now, not some nobody," said Karashi, turning his gaze away from Lee. "Really? You think you are powerful just because you joined up with a group of dickless losers? Face it kid, you're still just as weak as you were before, only now you're someone else's bitch, if you like taking it from behind that's fine, but if you want to become stronger, you're doing shit all to get there," said Tayuya, walking over to the group with a pale Rakusuke over her shoulder. Before she dropped him on his bottom. "Well, I would not have phrased it like that, she is right, turn back now, Karashi, to the man you were before," said Lee. "You're right, I'm sorry, please forgive me," said Karashi, slumping forward on his knees. Neji looked up towards the cliff to their right and noticed a figure standing there. "You 4, let's go, there is someone up there," said Neji. "Karashi, please stay here," said Lee, to which Karashi gave a small nod. "Let's go," said Neji, before the 5 raced up the cliff. Line break. "So Itachi, remind me again why you decided to take this little detour?" asked Kisame as he walked alongside his partner. "I have reason to believe we should," said Itachi vaguely. "You know Itachi, I do appreciate that you have a flair for dramatics, but I'd like some answers too," chuckled Kisame. "If you listened carefully enough, you would know," said Itachi. Kisame paused for a moment and listened carefully, only to hear nothing. Kisame was about to speak up until he picked up a single word carry over the horizon. "Now I get it, but why are we following them?" asked Kisame in amusement. "I believe they will lead us to our target," said Itachi. Kisame grinned at this and gave a laugh before shaking his head in amusement. "Whatever you say," said Kisame. Line break. The group of 5 reached the top of the cliff and carefully looked around, trying to find the enemy Neji had sighted. Naruto shifted his gaze to an outcropping higher up and seemed to be staring a hole through it. Tayuya noticed Naruto's gaze and followed it, not finding anything out of place. Naruto subtly walked closer to Tayuya, with her doing the same. "Do you see it?" asked Naruto quietly, only for Tayuya to shake her head. "A pity, how about now?" asked Naruto, gently touching Tayuya's hand, slightly startling her. Before she could question the action, she noticed what seemed to be a path appearing before her eyes, clearing the mist as it went and revealing a figure wearing a cloak standing on the top of the cliff.